Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. This time from Stillwater. Tip time is set for just past the top of the hour. And coverage gets underway with Kevin Winter at 8:30 Eastern. Cade Cunningham. He scored 40 in Saturday's OT win for the Cowboys. This time they're in Norman. One final in this evening. 21st ranked Virginia besting Miami 62-51, getting 18 from Sam Hauser and improving to 12-4 in ACC play. Florida State's Leonard Hamilton has a 5-year extension. He's the winningest coach in school history, on the verge of a second straight ACC regular season title. NBA, the Atlanta Hawks have fired Coach Lloyd Pierce. Nate McMillan will serve as interim the rest of the way. His team is 14-20 in progress. Mavs up 7 at Orlando, while the Sixers have a 20-point edge on Indiana. Both those games late second quarter. Pistons Raptors postponed tomorrow, rescheduled for Wednesday. NFL, J.J. Watt reaching a 2-year deal with the Cardinals. Adam Schefter reporting it's worth $31 million, 23 guaranteed. He'll team up on that line with Chandler Jones. Here's Dan Orlovsky.
Just think of what they can do, not only when those guys are now opposite each other, but putting those guys on the same side. You're going to now create a lot of issues for teams like the Rams and the 49ers and the Seahawks to go, how are we going to block these guys? What's our game plan? Who can block maybe one of these guys one-on-one? Do we have to go and send our offensive line all that way?
Chiefs hopeful to have Patrick Mahomes ready for June minicamp.
Greeny with you on Tuesday. Legendary Voices Week continues with the one and only Al Michaels, who's called as many big football games as literally anyone and is going into the Baseball Hall of Fame. We'll talk to Al and more with me, Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN+.
Isn't this a sports show?
So I got a haircut yesterday, 2 days ago. I also brought the beard in a little bit today.
Ooh.
And so this is basically, I'm just waiting for the guy that said I looked fatter on Facebook than I saw on the radio.
Almost entirely.
Just come back now. It was mostly fluff. Facebook commenter.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
He also called into the postgame show at one point, and he's cool. Mom, please stop bullying that guy. It's fine. Not a joke. Not a joke. Not a joke. None of what I just said was a joke. Every single syllable was a real thing.
Take the show with you by listening on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app at 810WHB.com or by searching for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
That was bad. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but it was bad. There it is. Hold on. Let me change that. That was bad. I admit it. I'm not sorry.
This is Almost Entirely Sports on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Of all the things I thought we may get today, Chiefs news on the injury front for the second consecutive week would not have been the first thing I would have expected. I knew coming into today's show we would talk a little bit about KU beating Baylor on Saturday night. We'd talk a little bit about Hunter Dozier's contract extension. We would talk to Matt Derrick, because that's just a thing that we do on Mondays, but I figured we would predominantly be talking to him about Mitchell Schwartz's injury update and see what he thought about what that meant for the future of the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line. And then today, we got a little bit of news in a press conference from Chiefs General Manager Brett Veach that is certainly going to set up where we'll start with today's show. And it also will put us in a spot here to open the show with Brett Veach's own voice here just momentarily, because I want you to hear directly from Brett Veach so you can hear everything he said the exact way that he said it, because I do think all of that matters. And then, all of this is going to set up a little bit of guesswork. Every single person who has responded to any of my tweets on this topic has come at it in a very sort of like, yeah, but sort of breathless way. And I get it. We'll get to you. Yeah, but people, we'll get to you in a second. Ultimately, though, this is a very interesting and almost certainly positive thing that we heard from Brett Veach today. We also got a conclusion to the J.J. Watt sweepstakes. He's not coming to Kansas City. Sorry, everybody. He wants to play with a real contender that's paying him $23 million guaranteed. Oh, just listen, he just really likes Kyler Murray, okay? I don't want to see what the big problem is.
He's a young up-and-comer.
He's a young up-and-coming quarterback, and also 2 years, $31 million.
J.J. Watt's got a lot of career left. He's just looking for a team. He's looking for an up-and-coming team because he's an up-and-coming player.
Listen, the Chiefs' arrow, I mean, it in a very literal sense, it's pointing down. They won the Super Bowl, then lost the Super Bowl. Next year, probably won't even be in it. Year after that, probably won't even be in the AFC Championship game. J.J. Watt's trying to get it on the ground floor of the Arizona Cardinals. Has nothing to do with the fact that no one else is going to give him $31 million over 2 years, with $23 million of that being guaranteed. If I shouted $23 million of it being guaranteed, it's because that's a significant amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
But good for him. Just glad that he's out there playing
he's healthy.
He's playing for a contender, and he's always healthy, and that's important as well. I did like that that he was able to announce his destination himself. He tweeted something like "Sources me," and then it was a picture of him doing squats wearing a Cardinals shirt.
I'm still waiting for that second source, by the way.
Yeah,
I was taught to never trust a story without two sources.
Gotta have two sources. I do think the Cardinals may have confirmed it. You can look into that if you'd like, but
that doesn't count.
It's not the same.
They're obviously biased.
That's a great point.
I need to know what TJ Watt thinks. That's what I'm waiting for.
The most on-brand part of all of that is that JJ Watt tweeted out that announcement literally of him doing squats. I mean, there's not a more JJ Watt way to announce some big breaking news. I don't know. Does JJ Watt have kids? I imagine JJ Watt has kids. He just seems like he would have kids.
I don't think he does, actually. I think he just got married within the last year or two ago.
Well,
not that you couldn't have kids. Just I don't think he's
that's what the Bible says.
He's not necessarily somebody who's been in a relationship for a long period of time.
So I don't know.
I don't believe he does, because his wife is a professional soccer player in Chicago.
Oh, that's true. Actually, I did know that vaguely.
I forget her name.
Well, the first thing if you type "does JJ Watt," the first thing is still play football.
Well, he does.
Which he does.
That appears to be true. Again, haven't heard the confirmation. But it appears to be true.
So let's just say that he doesn't have kids then. Yeah, it looks like his now wife's name, I suppose. Yes, his wife now. Her name is Kalea Ohai. How do I do, Rudy? You know more about soccer than I do.
I believe she's a Houston native, which I think is how they met, but I do not.
And she just demanded a trade.
Ooh.
Out of Houston.
Does Arizona have a women's
She says team? It's Easterby's fault. That's wild.
Yeah, understandable.
Whenever if JJ Watt and his wife do have children at some point, the gender reveal will be will be like the color of the plates on the bar that he is squatting when that video comes out. He will there will be a tackling dummy that he will run and tackle, and whenever it hits the ground, pink or blue smoke will come out of the tackling dummy. Like that is simply how it's going to be. JJ Watt will be doing football activities in every announcement he makes for the rest of his life.
Yeah. Now, do we think he did indeed complete the squat? Because he could have just put that.
Wow, do you think he just got under the bar?
Got under the bar, lifted a little bit, and then been like, "Hey, I'm good."
No. JJ Watt, absolutely
That's
not.
True.
Absolutely not.
Too pure of a man.
TJ Watt, maybe.
Derrick, absolutely.
DJ Watt, who knows?
Absolutely.
Is Derrick Watt? Is his middle initial
Derrick.
Is it his middle initial J something?
I don't think so.
It's kind of wild that you would have JJ and TJ, but then you'd be like, and Derrick.
Oh yeah, Derrick John Watt.
Okay, why isn't he DJ?
Is he the oldest of the brothers?
Is it because he doesn't want to have people call him DJ Watt? Is DJ Watt taken already? Was that already a music act? I bet it is. I bet if you go to twitter.com/DJ Watt, you're gonna get some sort of disc jockey.
If you type in DJ Watt, it says, "Did you mean TJ Watt?" Probably.
David Watt has the DJ Watt Twitter account. He does not appear to be a DJ. He appears to be some sort of farmer.
Yeah, Derrick's guy has no nickname for a DJ. Doesn't appear that he was ever a DJ.
Has there ever been a DJ Watt? Because it seems pretty good. It seems like it's electric.
Why would you not be DJ? Because he even says, hey, in 2020, Derrick appeared in a Subway commercial with his brother JJ and TJ. Why would it not be DJ, JJ, and TJ?
I'm baffled by this. If I could get one question in J.J. Watt's opening press conference with the Cardinals, that will be the question I ask him.
Okay,
Someone get me the Zoom link.
Here's a twist. So, to my knowledge, obviously J.J. does not have a child. To my knowledge, T.J. does not have a child. Derrick has 2 childs. Logan James Watt. So we got an LJ.
Well, some would call them children. Go ahead.
So we got an LJ, a Logan James Watt. Here's where it gets crazy.
Oh, no.
Braden George Watt. He broke the trend.
With a sound.
George.
But
so
with
it sounds
a G.
like a J. It's got that J sound, but it's a G.
If he would have, what's that one's name?
Braden George Watt.
If it would have been Braden George Watt, but with a J, if it would have been J-O-R, if it would be like Jorge, basically,
Yeah,
but it's pronounced George, that would have been totally fine.
Yeah.
Well, no. You cannot be B.J. Watt. He did his kid a favor. Dodged a bullet.
Huh.
Derrick Watt's a good dad.
You know what? That is a really good dad.
I've done a 180 on Derrick Watt. He's my favorite now.
BG is a better nickname than BJ.
Sure is. Just can't be B.J. Watt.
Interesting.
I mean, we solved it.
Good job, Derrick.
What's it like saying that sentence out loud, Rudy?
So that's in the last 2 weeks on 2 different shows. A joke about essentially that has been made.
Wow, really?
That I've been around for, yeah.
Well, we'll keep it moving then. Beard's like that joke so much he just sneezed loud, hard. That was an aggressive
He's really,
sneeze.
haggling back there.
Who's he haggling with? Are you buying something right now?
His nose.
I need some Kleenexes. That's what I need.
I feel like that got a little bit on the nose at the end there, Rudy. I feel like I got a little on the nose.
Yeah, that was the essentially the joke from maybe 2 weeks ago.
Wow. Border Patrol.
Yes.
Yes. Good for them. How are those guys? How are Steven and Nick?
Nick is good. You know, it was Nick's birthday today.
I need to tell Nick happy birthday. That's really
Nick Bacady.
That's really egg on my nose.
Had his 27th birthday today.
Wow, that's crazy. I would have guessed he was older than that.
Nope. You know, people also think his name is Nate, but that's just hasn't been true.
It's Nick short for Nickton, which is crazy. So this is kind of interesting. Well, I believe this is a oftentimes considered questionable source, just because I'm vaguely aware of John Gambadoro, because he works in radio in Arizona. I don't know him at all, but I feel like there is essentially a meme that his reports are frequently not the most accurate. I don't know anything about him other than I believe that meme. So his word may be gospel, it may be nonsense, but he just tweeted a little bit ago, I hadn't seen this till just now, the deal J.J. Watt signed with the Cardinals was not the most he was offered. The Cleveland Browns and Indianapolis Colts each offered more money. Tennessee's offer was very similar.
I mean, I'm not surprised if multiple teams, now of course
those teams are all in a similar tier, I think.
Yeah, and there's there's probably a little bit in terms of guaranteed money. Also true. The NFC appears to be an easier. Not that I don't want to say it's easy because you still got to deal with Tom Brady, and as we've seen, that's never. Tom Brady will be 50 and I'll still be afraid to play him in the playoffs.
100%.
But it's really just kind of one team there versus the AFC, which again, as we've talked about, as impressive. Well, what the Chiefs have done the last 3 years is wildly impressive when you consider just the amount of talent within that conference as a whole.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of interesting. Again, all of those teams, I'm not sure any of those teams are clearly better than the Cardinals.
No.
Also, at least
Honestly,
Arizona is warm still.
It might be the best
because
it was Tennessee, Cleveland,
and
Arizona, and Indy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Arizona's got the best quarterback probably in that group.
Probably right.
Right?
Yeah.
So
there was a report I saw earlier that the quarterback was really important to him.
Yeah.
If you're picking between those teams, yeah, I thought Pittsburgh just made too much sense.
His brothers are
you could have played. You know how crazy? There's no way that's happened before, right? 3 brothers on the same team.
I can't imagine.
That seems impossible.
And with Ben Roethlisberger coming back, there was a sense of hey, we're going all out one year, right?
Yeah.
We're going to do everything we can. We'll move money around. Well, we may destroy our cap for the next 3 years, but we're going to just really put it all in, all our eggs into this basket for 1 year, and let's go do this.
And maybe maybe JJ didn't want a second year than playing for Mason Rudolph and basically at that point the Houston Texans.
Mason Rudolph, they got Dwayne Haskins. Mason better watch out.
Oh, that's true. They do have Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, Mason better watch out. Dwayne might take him to a strip club and not wear a mask. By the way, Brian on Facebook says, Derrick Watt said he doesn't go by DJ because of Full House when they were kids, because there's a DJ Tanner in Full House.
Excellent Facebook comment. Incredibly good work. Who left that comment?
Brian Williamson.
Brian Williams from NBC. Honored that you would take time out of your night from doing the news to tell us that fact. I hope you're more... Brian Williams was the one who got in trouble for lying about, like, being in a helicopter that was being, like, shot at in Iraq or something, right?
Yes.
So let's just really double-check our facts on that.
Well, this
Great
guy is...
work, Brian, on
this
Facebook.
Is Williamson, so...
Oh, okay, well, then we're safe.
There's an extra consonant and vowel in there.
Great. I mean, just as efficient as the Facebook comment section has ever been for us.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, I got a question. And someone on Facebook is like, here's the answer. No charge. Oh, thank you. That's great. Well, on that note, I feel like we have now successfully done an open to this show that wasn't just me yelling about Brett Veach to you. Yeah. So now, why don't we hear from Brett Veach? I'll tell you, this is, again, the news of the day. That there's a lot of different ways we can go about all of this, but Brett Veach, GM of the Chiefs, had a press conference this morning, and there were a few things that are interesting that we'll unpack over the course of the show today, but clearly the most impactful thing, regardless of how much of it ends up coming true, was what Brett Veach said whenever he was asked about the timelines for recovery on Patrick Mahomes, Mitchell Schwartz, and Eric Fisher.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at my medical notes here. So Pat had his toe surgery on 2/10. Talking to Rick late last week, it's a 3-month recovery. So we're hopeful, somewhere around that mandatory minicamp if we have. We certainly think by training camp he'll be good to go, and we'll be smart with him. Mitch just recently had his disc worked on, and we're hopeful for him to return to training camp, and the same thing with Fish. So we're hopeful both these guys will, complete the rehab and be available for training camp and to start the 2021 season. I would probably say Pat's ahead of them just because of the that type of injury and probably a quicker recovery. But hopefully have all three ready to go by training camp.
So if that was just him talking about Mitch Schwartz and Patrick Mahomes, that would have still been a really important, relevant update to how things were going. Because, look, Ian Rappaport had reported the timeline on Patrick Mahomes' surgery. And Rappaport twice now has tweeted in a way that makes me think that he believes newborn babies are popping out and then running wind sprints immediately.
I mean, Mahomes' baby, maybe.
That's a great point.
I love that he doubled down on that. You know that he probably saw multiple replies to, like, I don't think babies, and he was just like, he just looked at this and was like, you know what? I got a chance to double down right here.
Twice now, Rappaport has tweeted about how Patrick Mahomes is going to have a hard time chasing that newborn baby around while he's recovering from his turf toe surgery. And twice I've gone, listen, Ian, I haven't been around that many babies in my life, and I certainly don't have one of my own. But, Ian, I really don't think they're running around pretty much fresh out the womb. But, listen, Ian's a football reporter, not a baby reporter.
I mean, there was
Hold on, sorry. I just thought about now the idea of there being a baby reporter, and that is great. Go ahead.
There was the whole, deal how obviously, Patrick and Brittany hadn't released photos of the baby, immediately. Maybe it's just because they can't get the baby to stop running around to take a picture. It's just blurry.
Their baby is Dash from The Incredibles,
Pretty
and
much.
It's just that there's no shutter speed fast enough.
We just don't got a camera for that yet.
That's pretty good. But so if that was just about Mahomes and Mitch Schwartz, because we got the update on Mahomes from Rappaport pretty much as it was happening, and then Schwartz gave his own update saying, hey, it's not too long of a recovery time, feeling pretty good. Veach there is the first time that anyone particularly, in the know is what I was going to say, so I'll just continue with some very good references just for three people. But we haven't really heard from anyone from the Chiefs or even any highly informed reporters, I don't think, say the word disc around Mitch Schwartz's surgery. It very much makes sense. I think it was Schwartz's wife that had said something about getting spinal surgery, which is obviously not pleasant. But some of those specifics have stayed a little bit fuzzy just in terms of official conversations and official reports and everything. But from Schwartz himself, he said recovery time's not too bad. And then also for the way the Chiefs handled this to have really made any sense at all, you would have to think they expected him to be ready for training camp. Otherwise, you probably pull the plug whenever you put him on IR, which I think was week 11. I might be off by a week or two in one direction or another there, but you probably pull the plug and let him go get the surgery and try to get that rehab process going sooner if it takes longer. Assuming that everything we heard there today is right, then that's all logical. But Veach also threw Eric Fisher's name in there. Now, Eric Fisher had Achilles surgery after suffering an Achilles injury. We all believe it to be ruptured Achilles. Again, I'm not sure that was ever officially said. Mm-hmm. But he tore his Achilles in the AFC Championship game. Achilles injuries, especially for offensive linemen, I mean, for everybody, really. But for a lineman, maybe even more so, because you're dealing with being essentially they're trying to put you on your heels 24/7. That's the defensive lineman's job in that spot, more or less. That is a hefty recovery process. I hadn't heard from anybody, either that we'd had on the show and talked about it, or just in some conversations privately. I hadn't heard anybody be more optimistic than a mid-season return. And mid-season was usually feeling more like 6 to 8 weeks than 4 to 6. I was just that, and that's the headspace that I've been in. It's an Achilles, and he's going to get the best treatment in the world and all that, but it's really hard to see him coming back before the mid-season mark. The thing about that is that if Eric Fisher is not going to play for you until mid-season, it would make more sense, honestly, for the Chiefs to release him sometime this offseason. Cutting Eric Fisher, the Chiefs could free up $12 million in cap space. You would carry a $3 million dead cap hit. There's an argument that may have been worth taking a very, very, very long look at pre-injury, really. It just sort of depends on how you feel about Lucas Niang, and it got complicated more with Mitchell Schwartz's injury because it put things back up in the air again. But Fisher had one of the more movable cap hits even before he was hurt. And I asked Matt Derrick about this last week. Again, he'll join us in about half an hour now. But I always, I'm trying to make sure I don't miss something like what an injury settlement may do, or if there are any injury guarantees that aren't obvious on the face of the deal. And Matt said he's got no information to indicate that there would be anything that would complicate things with Fisher, and that really the Chiefs could just move on, give him his dead cap hit, and roll on with those $12 million and do something else this offseason. That would be a fiscally reasonable thing for the Chiefs to do, especially if you didn't expect to see him until the halfway point of the year. You make that, you take that logical leap, and you say, all right, we're going to try to get Schwartz back. We'll have Niang. Maybe we try to bring back Mike Rimmers, and hopefully we see them draft somebody in the first or second round, and those guys all compete for that left tackle spot, and maybe even bring in another veteran free agent of some sort. You got $12 million from Fisher's departure there that you could play around with. That's where my head has been pretty much since we got the word that he was out with an Achilles in the AFC Championship game. But then Veach throws him into that group with Schwartz and Mahomes, saying we expect him back for training camp. Later in the press conference, Veach was asked to clarify where he was at timeline-wise with Eric Fisher and if they expected him to be out there in week 1.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at my notes right here. Achilles surgery, 129. Based on Rick and his medical staff, he projects a mid-August return. So now listen, how that works, everything is different and everyone recovers differently. So, I think with that injury and with the time leading up for the season, Rick has here a mid-August return. and you know how that works. That's always, to be determined until the player actually reports back to camp and goes through the offseason and see where he is. But I think that, the mid-August timeline was put in front of my notes here. So, I'll defer to Rick on that and trust his medical expertise.
It's even an interesting way of talking about it, honestly. So Rick Burkholder is the Chiefs' VP of Sports Medicine and Performance. We've brought up his name even more often than usual as of late because he's also been their chief COVID officer and has had a bigger role across. It sounded like in the NFL's formation of some of the COVID protocols and everything. Burkholder seems like he's really, very good at his job.
Mm-hmm.
If Burkholder's putting down a mid-August return, I'm inclined to think that it would be, we can Occam's razor this a little bit. It would be wild for the Chiefs VP of Sports Medicine Performance, head trainer, etc., for him to lie to the general manager on a piece of paper about when Eric Fisher is going to return seems crazy to me. That seems really unlikely. Also, it seems like Brett Veach also might have a little bit of hesitance about what exactly they can expect of Eric Fisher in terms of whenever he'll be back. But it doesn't, for Brett Veach to be lying about what's on the paper seems crazy. And the idea that Veach would not be getting the absolute truth from Burkholder is absolutely ridiculous. And so maybe it's optimistic. Maybe it's saying, hey, best case scenario is that he's back mid-August. And maybe it's even that he's just taking his first practice reps in mid-August in an individual circumstance. Maybe he's still weeks away from football activities at that point. Maybe, but that's not what they made it sound like out there today. Here's the other thing, though. And I'm guessing I haven't looked at Facebook or Twitch or YouTube where you can watch the show, the Sports Radio 810 Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube channels. Facebook.com/sportsradio810, Twitch.tv/sportsradio810, YouTube.com/810WHB. And I'm guessing that there and on the text line and on Twitter and everything, I'm getting what I got earlier today over Twitter from a bunch of people, which is, well, they still need to draft somebody. This doesn't matter. They still need to draft somebody. I want to address that exact person for a moment, which is actually many people. Hey, you are correct. You're right. I agree with you. The Chiefs absolutely should still draft for the future of their offensive line, as Mitch Schwartz and Eric Fisher are both NFL older. They're not NFL ancient, but they're both no longer spring chickens, if you will. And they're both coming off of significant injuries. I absolutely expect that the Chiefs are going to spend a pick in the first 3 rounds on a tackle would be my guess. It was a 3rd-round pick last year with Lucas Niang, so they're going to get a 3rd-round tackle back, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But, so now, I hope I've been clear there. I expect they're going to draft someone. Now, if you're saying it's got to be in the 1st round, I think depending on how the board falls, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be disappointed. But I don't know. We're still a ways away from the draft, and clearly, what the Chiefs are going to do in the 1st round with their 1st-round draft pick has not been a particular point of correctness for me over the last 360-some days. I have made some mistakes. But
what you're saying is they might draft a running back in the 1st round again this year.
I'm saying if that happens, I'm going to have to quit. I'm not promising that I'm going to quit. This is not a bet. I'm saying I'm going to have to quit. This is just going to be untenable for me. But let's just say, for the sake of this particular conversation, that the Chiefs' timeline on Eric Fisher is optimistic, and they're saying we're going to be able to be working him back by mid-September and not mid-August, fully in full pads, ready to go. Now, all of a sudden, even if I'm hitting snooze on what they're expecting a couple times, you're talking about surviving 4 games or so without Eric Fisher, as opposed to 8 or if you release him, 16, or I guess really maybe 17. And if the Chiefs are buying the timeline they presented out there today, that's probably enough reason not to cut him for the cap space. And then you get Niang, maybe Rimmers, probably some sort of to-be-determined TBD rookie that can all compete for that left tackle spot starting week 1, and then try to hold that down until Fisher comes back, probably around week 4. This obviously, to me, this is obvious. This obviously doesn't mean that they should not draft a tackle early on in the draft. They should. But what it does mean, if they are planning on having Fisher back, is it means there is less time to have to patch the holes without him, and it changes 2 things for whatever rookie they would theoretically draft. One is it makes it a little less dire. It's not quite so urgent that you take a tackle at 31. Because whenever you say, with the 31st pick, we're just going to take the best tackle who's out there, the only guys you may have had with a first-round grade may be off the board already. In fact, you might be looking at a bunch of guys with late second-round grades that you think might actually be there whenever you're picking again in the 60s. But now you're saying, you know what? We just have to have the best remaining tackle. You know who the best remaining edge rusher was a few years ago? The Chiefs traded up for him. I remember Brett Veach talking about how they moved up for Breeland Speaks because there was a run on edges, and they wanted to get an edge, and they went up and said, this is the last guy who's kind of in this tier for us still. We're going to go up and get him. You do not want to feel forced to take a certain position, because the more flexible you can be, the more likely you are to be the team that stops the slide for an edge rusher who was projected to go 16 but is still there at 31. Or a corner who was supposed to be a top 15 pick who's still there at 31. Or maybe it's a center or a guard or a tackle. But whenever you have flexibility that way, it allows you to capitalize on some unexpected things that could end up turning into a positive for you. What it also would mean is whoever they end up adding, whatever rookie offensive tackle they go get, if they believe that Eric Fisher is going to be out there early in the season, you don't need that guy to start for you day 1. This is something that having Schwartz back helps with as well. It lessens that pressure on that guy. It probably lessens that pressure on Lucas Niang. And I don't mean pressure as in like mental stress. I mean pressure as in organizational stress. The Chiefs had to start Andrew Wiley at right tackle and Mike Rimmers at left tackle against the best defensive line they faced all year in the Super Bowl. And it went poorly. Whenever you have a few more options, you have a little more depth, you're trying to fill a 3 or 4 week hole. You're trying to have somebody come in and patch it up. And then you think you're going to be able to go back to have your Super Bowl winning tackles that were there for you last year before they both got hurt in ways that ended their season. Now, look, there's a chance that this has all just been stuff that Brett Veach is saying, and maybe they've already decided, healthy or injured, whatever, that maybe them saying that Fisher's going to be good to go by week 1 of the regular season helps them in some way not have to worry about any sort of injury-based complications from moving on from his contract. And if that happens, then this is all going to have been a conversation for an alternate timeline in a different universe, which is totally possible. It's totally possible that Fisher and Schwartz are both nowhere near ready by week 1, that they cut Fisher sometime before the draft, and that Schwartz starts the year on the PUP list. That's totally on the table, and whatever conversations that are being had within the Chiefs' locker room, in their front office, those conversations need to be had with all of these things on the table, and they have more information than we do, obviously. But with what we know today, it adds only really more good doors the Chiefs could walk through in terms of their tackles, if they really do believe that the path back for Eric Fisher is optimistic. I'm still hesitant about what Veach said today being absolute gospel, but I've got no reason to think that this is actually going to blow up in some huge way, because I also don't think it would make a lot of sense for them to take this news from Fisher and Schwartz and go, all right, cool, we'll figure out tackle next year. Because honestly, I don't think next year they want to be in this position. Next year, they want to be able to say, hey, we're moving on from Fisher and Schwartz both, and we're starting Lucas Niang and Alex Leatherwood or whatever. I'm learning names of college offensive linemen. Is Leatherwood the tackle?
He is the, I think he played center, but there's talk about him moving to tackle. Or wait,
no, that's the other guy.
No, that's the other guy. Yeah, Alex Leatherwood's the tackle. Yes.
Is Dickerson the center?
Dickerson's the center.
I'm learning
Leatherwood's the
offensive
tackle.
lineman names. I only know if you're from Alabama, I've got your name in here because you could go in the mid-30s. Draft season! Let's take a break. Whenever we come back, we'll talk probably more about the Chiefs' offensive line. That's kind of where we're at today. We'll talk about it with Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest in about 20 minutes as well.
Want more Almost Entirely Sports? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page.
You know Aldi is all about saving you money, but they care beyond the cart too. That's why Aldi is partnering with Sports Radio 810 WHB to help cram the van with donations for the Salvation Army and local food banks. Stop by your Shawnee Aldi on Wednesday, March 10th from 8 a.m. until 12:30. Pick up some items and help us cram the van out front for those in need. Mark your calendars and cram the van. Wednesday, March 10th at Aldi. Together, let's make a difference. Aldi. Shop differently.
Spring is coming, so plan now to keep those bugs out with Augustine Exterminators. Now is the time to establish and or maintain a barrier around your house. Don't let it break down. At Augustine Exterminators, they have you covered. Augustine is a family-owned local business since 1966. All of their techs are certified in both Missouri and Kansas. In fact, check out their amazing reviews from all their KC area customers. They're also a Quality Pro and Green Pro company. Augustine also does carpet, rug, air duct, and tile cleaning. They have an excellent referral program as well. Refer a new customer, and you and they get $25 off their next service. That's right. Refer a friend, and you both get $25 off your next service. Shop and buy local with Augustine Exterminators. Call Augustine Exterminators today at 913-359-8627 or go online at AugustineExterminators.com. And Augustine is looking for qualified technicians. Call today at 913-359-8627. 913-359-8627.
During these challenging times, everyone is talking about the Freedom Loan exclusive at A1 Mortgage. After the financial crash of 2008, we knew there had to be a better and smarter way to finance your home. The Freedom Loan. It will take years off your mortgage, saving you thousands in interest. Need cash? No problem. Need a break on payments? No problem. The Freedom Loan may be the last loan you ever need. The managers of A1 Mortgage could have any loan they want, and they chose the Freedom Loan. Why wait? Start saving thousands and getting your freedom back today. Call 816-822-8888. That's 822-8888 or apply at mya1mortgage.com.
A1 Mortgage, making your dreams a reality is what we do.
A1 Mortgage Group, LLC, a Kansas licensed mortgage company. License number MC0001649, Missouri license number 16-1556, NMLS number 268370. Terms and conditions apply, subject to change without notice.
Hey, it's former Jayhawk Greg Gurley. Kansas fans and alumni are in every city and state we play. If your favorite Jayhawk fans are missing home, send them some Joe's KC Barbecue. Nothing beats home court and championship barbecue on game day. Joe's will ship anywhere in the U.S. It's easy to reheat, and it tastes just as good at home as it does at Joe's. You can ship all of Joe's favorites, like ribs, brisket, burn ends, and even the famous Z-Man. Ordering is easy, and it's just a few clicks away at joeskc.com.
That meeting's starting at 4. Can I get those projections?
Indeed knows unexpected growth can stretch your business thin.
Karen, do these numbers look right to you?
Like at Mia's research firm. To hit client deadlines, she needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Whether you're looking for energy savings for the winter or updating your home office or man cave, One Stop Decorating is the place for beautiful energy-efficient window coverings. One Stop Decorating offers free in-home or virtual consultations, or you can come into one of their 3 beautiful showrooms to see all the window coverings in their Hunter Douglas galleries. Ask about smart shades that can be controlled by Google, Alexa, and HomeKit. 913-270-0408, 913-270-0408, or onestopdecorating.com. Your home, your windows, your style.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Tell you what, this has been the most enjoyable show we've done in a while.
Oh, for sure. Stupid Chiefs.
Stupid damn Chiefs.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
What are you giggling at, Rudy?
So Honey makes me happy on Twitter. Or
on
Twitter.
Twitch, almost certainly.
Yes, says, can we talk about Josh's necklace, or is it too early in the show for that?
It's never too early.
It's very spot on. It's a good comment.
It only pops out. It only pops out whenever there's layers above it. Otherwise, it's usually just kind of hiding under there.
Yeah.
But I had a very plain shirt today, and so I thought, you know what? I can go ahead and let the chain come out a little bit. Otherwise, I look like an NPC, you know? I look like an NPC without the necklace out. Whip it out, though, all of a sudden, I'm like a very early game main character.
For sure.
That's my whole aesthetic.
Also, you saying you're learning the names of college draft, linemen, this may backfire soon because the live stream media wants to know what your opinions are on Mo Lester from Illinois.
I mean, that simply cannot be a real man's name, right?
Honestly, I don't know.
There's simply no. It is simply impossible. Listen, we just talked about how B.J. Watt dodged a bullet by actually being named B.G. Watt. There is no way. If your name is like, Mohammed Lester or something, you got to go by Mohammed Lester. You simply cannot. What is Mo Vaughn short for?
I don't know. Maybe Maurice, maybe?
Is it if you're named it sure is, it's Maurice.
Nice.
If your name is Maurice Lester, you have to go by Maurice.
I think I thought there was a change to that because I think like Mo Alley Cox, that tight end for the Colts, I think his first name is actually Maurice. I think I'm not even actually sure if that's true or not, but I think that's where I got it from.
That's fine. I feel pretty good about that not being. You know what? Either that's a fake name for the Goofs and the Ha-Has, or I got him as an early day 3, late day 2 pick.
I Googled Mo Lester, Illinois.
Yeah.
The first thing that popped up was Josephine Lester obituary, Kansas City, Illinois, 1931 to 2020. R.I.P. Josephine.
Now, if we want to play the game of just...
The rest of the headlines are not good.
That's good. Let's not read any more of them then. I mean, you can read them quietly to yourself.
Yeah,
but
that's the good one. The rest of them are about one story, and it's not a good story.
I would imagine not. In fact, I'd love to continue not knowing what that story is. Now, if you want to play this game differently and you want to ask me about, you want to just go find random day 3 prospects, I would be more than happy to play that game. Maybe later in the show, because I do want to get to some more Brett Veach audio. But later in the show, if you want to play the game of Josh evaluates day 3 prospects he's never heard of until just now, I'm ready to play that game. I can definitely do that for you.
Are we doing just offensive linemen?
No.
Okay.
Open it up.
I love it.
Yeah, open it up. I got something on everybody. I am
Trevor Lawrence.
Never heard of him.
Patrick Mahomes.
Not draft eligible.
Are we sure?
Pretty sure. Pretty confident. We should do that. We should do that later in the show, though. I like that game a lot, and I also think my only concern is that I might end Todd McShay's career by accident by just showing you how fickle all of this is.
Did you see real fast? Mel Kiper. Mel Kiper has never released a mock draft with trades in it.
Sure.
Ever. It's not his thing. He's like, I'm not here to tell you who's going to trade or not. That's not what I do. I just tell you who the team should draft. He released a mock draft with trades.
Whoa!
Because there were too many good quarterbacks at the top of the draft. He just felt like it wasn't. He wasn't doing the readers justice by not suggesting trades.
He decided this in year 900 of doing mock drafts?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed. He should have just stuck to his guys and be like, nah, not happening.
So I'm going to take 2 comments here back to back from the Twitch feed, which I'm just very much enjoying the Twitch feed. One from Bartman KC on Twitch that I think they'll whack fish and try to pick up a vet and mine for gold day 3. No one thinks that injury is recoverable in this time frame. My hunch is in a similar vein there, where I think it depends on how much they actually like Lucas Niang, and like if he shows up to camp 20 pounds overweight, the whole strategy goes up in flames. If he comes to camp looking like post serum Captain America, then everything is great. There's no in between at this point.
If he looks like the guy who was able to hold his own against Chase Young,
yeah,
you got a left tackle.
You're good. At the very least, maybe you see. Maybe he plays left tackle in 2021, and then you think, you know what, that wasn't an ideal performance, but maybe Mitch Schwartz is either retiring or just moving on after next year. You can move Niang to right. Eric Fisher had to bounce around a little bit over the beginning of his career. It wasn't ideal for him, obviously, but and then maybe you looked at to add even more talent in the future. But I certainly think they're going to draft a guard or a center in the last several rounds.
I would be shocked if an interior offensive lineman is not added at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if it was earlier in the draft as well. My guess is not going to be a first or second round pick, but I would not be surprised if it was a third or later.
And then Honey Makes Me Happy on Twitch says, Josh strikes me as more of a candy necklace kind of guy. And I now have to tell the brief story of how I felt very much attacked by my own taste in things. There was, I believe it was a GQ Post Malone video a while back. This is probably a couple years ago at this point. And he was going through, it was like some GQ has various sorts of videos sort of in this vein. It was something like, show us, basically, take us through all your jewelry or whatever.
Yeah.
And I love videos like that because I'm a sucker. And so he's going through all of these bajillion-dollar watches that he has and all of this stuff. And he has this, I think it ended up being a Chanel necklace or something. I think it was a Chanel necklace that is made to look like a candy necklace, but it's got little Chanel logo charms on it in different places and everything. And I saw that. I was like, well, that's exactly I love this.
That's your aesthetic.
I would love to have this. I think I found it on Poshmark for it was at least 4 digits, and then I was out again. And that's not counting the digits that come after the period. It was not 20.00. It was definitely at least $1,000.
You gotta
I black out at that point.
You gotta find the fake one.
Maybe that should have been. But then I saw that video. I was like, man, that's perfect. I love this. And but also, am I going to copy Post Malone? And then the hat that I have that Sterling always thinks says cauliflower, but it actually says California with a U in it, kind of gray denim hat.
Yes.
That is a hat from the band The Neighborhood. Really like The Neighborhood. I've talked about them in Shot Clock reviews before, all that goodness. I'm watching this video, and I've liked The Neighborhood for a very long time. I'm watching this video of Post Malone talking about this expensive necklace that I like, and he says, yeah, actually, I just stole the swag, essentially, of Jesse from The Neighborhood, the lead singer of The Neighborhood. He had it, I liked it, and so I bought it. And I realized at this point that my expensive, just sort of millennial pop star fashion tastes that have become a much maligned part of my brand at its peak over the last several years has become the snake eating its own tail. It is just musical artists that I like stealing style from each other and then bringing it out on a GQ video that I'm watching because I'm a sucker, and then I realize that I can't afford any of that, and then so I just go on Amazon and just try to figure out, well, if I just change, I could just get real candy necklaces if I just change them out every day, and then I got a little snack there in case I get peckish. I feel like getting more candy jewelry for adults is actually probably a good market. You know how many times I wish I could replace my bracelet with a candy bracelet? During the commercial, I could say, all right, I have to take a break. Whenever we come back, we'll talk more about Brett Veach. Honk, and I could take a bite out of my bracelet. That'd be lovely. By the end of the day, we've all eaten just a bracelet full of candy.
I'm in on this. I think I would want maybe it's a meat necklace of some sort, right?
That is a euphemism for some sort of way of killing someone, isn't it?
I don't know, honestly. Let's go to Urban Dictionary.
Hey, Rudy, keep Googling, keep typing. Don't read first.
I will not.
Don't read out loud before
I will
reading to
read
yourself.
before I speak.
I have found this necklace again on somewhere, like $3,000 there. That's just not.
Yep, not reading that out loud.
Oh no, is it worse than whatever I was thinking?
I mean, in theory, what you're thinking, this could also happen if somebody did this to said person.
That seems, I don't know, that seems unpleasant. Now I've got to look it up. We couldn't find it on Urban Dictionary, it says.
Meat
you know what? You know what? Let's not encourage the Googling. Let's just take a break, and whenever we come back, we'll either get to my Brett Veach audio or we won't, and we can all together figure out collectively if we're going to ask Matt Derrick if he knows what a meat necklace is. That's coming up for the rest of the show.
At JB Brisco, at Beards McFly, at Not That Rudy, at Sports Radio 810. Just do it already.
Guys, have some free time? PRA Health Sciences is seeking healthy, non-smoking men ages 18 to 45 to participate in a study of an investigational medication. Volunteers must be available for 4 stays of 3 nights each and 1 follow-up visit. Qualified participants may receive compensation up to $6,000 for time and travel. Call PRA today at 913-210-5900 or visit us on the web at prastudies.com/Lenexa.
Buying or selling your home is a big decision, maybe the largest transaction of your life. So make sure you have a real estate expert on your side. Shannon Brimacombe and Stacy Cohen with Reese Nichols. Brimacombe and Cohen rank among the top 1% of all agents in the city, with over $100 million in transactions in the past 2 years. Dedication and decades in the business. Contact Stacy Cohen at 816-729-7214 and find out why Brimacombe and Cohen are moving people and moving houses.
Honey, what should we do for dinner tonight?
I don't know. What do you want to do? I want to support somewhere local.
Have you heard?
Heard what?
Red Door Wood-Fired Grill has $5 classic burgers on Monday, and my buddy from work told me on Thursday they have the best jalapeno marinated fried chicken in all of Kansas City.
Get in.
Whether it be a juicy burger or chicken fried to perfection, there's something for everyone at Kansas City's favorite little upscale neighborhood joint, Red Door Wood-Fired Grill. What are you waiting for, KC? Get in here.
They say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Sometimes the situation is just plain ugly. Divorce, repairs, overwhelmed, taxes. If you're in an ugly house or an ugly situation, call the Ugly House guys today. 1-800-44-BUYER or WeBuyUglyHouses.com. We can help you fix that ugly situation and turn it into beautiful cash. That's 1-800-44-BUYER or WeBuyUglyHouses.com. We're the real Ugly House guys.
Jason Anderson here. I don't have to tell you that shopping for a home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make. At First Mortgage Direct, they serve you in the most honest and transparent way. Whether you're buying your first home or refinancing to get cash out, they'll unleash the power of the right mortgage by helping you secure an outstanding mortgage rate. Helping you buy a home with an affordable purchase mortgage is their top priority, factoring in loan amount and credit profile, as well as down payment details to provide a mortgage solution just for you. Finding the best mortgage starts with your lender, so get started with First Mortgage Direct as you take one step closer to home ownership. 855-222-5102 is the number. If you're ready to take the first step in your home buying experience, you can go to fmdloans.com today or call 855-222-5102. Again, that's 855-222-5102. First Mortgage Direct, the first step to a better future.
First Mortgage Solutions, LLC, DBA First Mortgage Direct, NMLS ID number 244476.
Men, do you suffer from erectile dysfunction or Peyronie's disease? Has Viagra stopped working? Most ED cases are caused by plaque buildup, which causes blockages and restricts blood flow. Even Viagra can't get through. But thanks to the doctors at West Coast Men's Health, a revolutionary medical procedure is now available. Using acoustic wave therapy, this non-invasive, pain-free treatment breaks down plaque, restores blood flow, potentially reversing ED for good. And women, if your man has ED, talk to him about acoustic wave therapy and how West Coast Men's Health can help, regardless of age or medical history. Call 913-243-3200 to schedule an evaluation. Be one of the first 10 callers and qualify for the special $99 consult fee, normally $199. That's 913-243-3200. Or online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
We got a tweet a little while ago from Corey on Twitter saying, can we talk about how hilarious it would be if the Chiefs found Josh so annoying they drafted a running back in the first round again just to encourage him to quit? I can't rule it out. I think it's got to be at least kind of on the table as an option that the Chiefs know that they have if they do want to just get me out of here. Again, not as a bet, because, feels like there's at least a chance. But I just don't think I could show my face anymore. Like the time after the draft was already so difficult. Hard. It would be difficult, yeah, because I mean, look, whenever I'm ultimately proven right about everything I've ever said and done, just as I have on every single issue from day one up until now, from running backs to everything else, that takes some time eventually to prove that I am flawless in every single way. I just don't have that kind of patience. I'm not perfect.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Switch to T-Mobile for Business and get up to 90 days of service free via virtual rebate on your business plan. You get a great deal, the largest 5G network, and first-class benefits like Microsoft 365 on us. It's better for business and only with T-Mobile for Business. Limited time offer. Stop in-store for details. Plus taxes and fees for some plans. Virtual Express MasterCard within 8 weeks of receipt of valid submission. Complete port within 60 days. See T-Mobile.com for 5G devices, coverage, and plan details.
March Madness is on its way. Sports Radio 810 is your exclusive home of Championship Week, with live coverage from downtown at T-Mobile Center of the Big 12 Championship. Plus live championship games from around the country, including the SEC, Pac-12, Big East, and the ACC. And we'll wrap it up with Selection Sunday and our exclusive bracket special. Your home for March Madness. Sports Radio 810, WHB.
Get a stylish solution for every room with window treatments at Menards and save with 11% off everything. Get Window Images room darkening vinyl and aluminum blinds, faux wood blinds, and cellular shades trimmed to width for free. Or order a custom style and size. Choose from durable, economical options to stunning custom designs, all 11% off. Good through March 6th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Right here in our community, thousands are one step away from homelessness, with over 50,000 households at risk as we recover from COVID. Unemployment has run out and many are still not back to work full-time, forcing choices between paying rent or buying food. Fortunately, Community Link is there to help, permanently ending and preventing homelessness for over 35 years in our community. Visit communitylinklinc.org or call 816-595-5553 to learn more.
Right now, it's more important than ever to support local businesses. And 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence is open and ready to take care of you. Make 23rd Street Brewery part of your KU game day experience, whether you watch the game there or grab curbside pickup for your tailgates or watch parties.
But not just game days. 23rd Street Brewery is great any day of the week, and when the weather's nice, you can take advantage of their heaters on the patio. 23rd Street Brewery is open daily from 11:30 to 9 for dine-in, carry-out, curbside pickup, and can even help with your catering needs.
So support local and visit a Lawrence favorite, 23rd Street Brewery.
Oh, ship! I need to get this package downtown by noon.
Don't worry. There's a brand new on-demand delivery service by Z-Trip. It's Z-Shipping.
Are you shipping me?
No, we're shipping your packages.
For the quickest, affordable, on-demand courier service, visit zshipping.com. zshipping.com. Let Z-Ship help you with your delivery needs. That's zshipping.com.
WHB Kansas City. Every weekday on Sports Radio 810, tune in to hear Kansas City's favorite local lineup. At 6 a.m., wake up with the Border Patrol with Stephen St. John and Nate Bucati. At 10, it's The Zone with Jason Anderson. Now at 2, get into the program with Soren Petro. And wrap up your day on Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco. Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Number one all day, every day. Kansas City's hometown radio station. 20 years and counting. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City. Kansas City's favorite sports station. 20 years and counting. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Jim Basketball. Bedlam Part 2 is about to get underway in Stillwater tonight. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Cade Cunningham scored 40 in Saturday's OT win for the Cowboys in a terrific matchup there in Norman. You can watch it on ESPN as well as the ESPN app. Earlier, Virginia besting Miami 62-51, and we'll keep it with the ACC with North Carolina fresh off the win over Florida State, looking to fight back at Syracuse, down in the final second, 70-68. Leonard Hamilton has a 5-year extension at FSU. He's the winningest coach in school history. NFL, J.J. Watt has a new team. It's the Arizona Cardinals. Adam Schefter reporting 2 years, $31 million, 23 of which is guaranteed. Here's Bart Scott.
Guy come off a $100 million contract, seems like that would be secondary, trying to cement his legacy and be able to get a championship or play for a championship. Never been to an AFC championship, always falling short, and he had an opportunity, I believe. He's going to the fourth best team within the division, not in the NFC, just in the division.
NBA, the Atlanta Hawks have fired Coach Lloyd Pierce. Nate McMillan takes over on an interim basis. They've lost 11 of 15, stand at 14-20. That's 11th in the East. No KD, but Kyrie Irving is back for the Brooklyn Nets in San Antonio. They're up 6 after one at 27-21. The Nets have last won there in 2003. Meantime, the Magic and Mavericks has Dallas up a dozen in the final minutes there. Luke has 28 points for the visitors.
Greeny with you on Tuesday. Legendary Voices Week continues with the one and only Al Michaels, who's called as many big football games as literally anyone and is going into the Baseball Hall of Fame. We'll talk to Al and more with me, Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN+.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Now, Matt, the obvious conclusion of this segment, I'm going to go ahead and let you just sort of warm up the pipes and decide if you've got a Wookiee, if you got a Wookiee call in you. Here's what I'm going to say leading up to that. You can follow Matt on Twitter at Matt Derrick. You can check out his book, At Last, the Kansas City Chiefs' Unforgettable 2019 Championship Season, forward by Kevin Harlan at triumphbooks.com/ChiefsWin. You can read all of his work on ChiefsDigest.com, and his Wookiee impression sounds like this.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
It wasn't good, but it wasn't fully embarrassing, which also may work as a backup slogan for Almost Entirely Sports in general. Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest, professional Wookiee impersonator, and covering all things Chiefs all the time, joins us now here as he's doing every Monday. I don't know, until either you get sick of it, Matt, or until Monday Night Football starts again, I guess?
Either one. I mean,
Maybe we time it off to both happen at the same time. Maybe you have patience till then.
Or until the cease and desist letter from Disney and Lucasfilm.
Matt, not to listen, I don't want to get too serious here too quickly, but we got just a lot of interesting things out of the Brett Veach press conference this morning, which is not a sentence I really expected to say. Like, we were getting, I was prepared to talk about Hunter Dozier's contract a bunch today and KU beating Baylor this weekend, all that stuff. And I figured, you know what, at the very least, we're going to talk to Matt a little bit about Mitchell Schwartz's injury news, because that happened, it was Tuesday, Wednesday last week, I think, when Schwartz tweeted it out. It was after we had talked. Then, we'll at least have that. And then Brett Veach comes out today and is like, yeah, we're going to have Schwartz and Fisher both ready to go by training camp, according to Rick Burkholder. Not me, but my paper, which has Rick Burkholder's explanation on it. What were you thinking as all of that was unfolding today?
I was pretty much thinking, I wonder how long it's going to be until Chiefs fans are going to be taking to Twitter talking about Eric Fisher being day-to-day.
I think the answer is 0.2 seconds.
I mean, it wouldn't be unprecedented. I mean, guys have come back from Achilles injuries in that kind of time frame. It's not normal. And, and we don't know. I mean, we don't know the extent of the injury, how severe it was. Maybe it wasn't as big of a repair as some others have been. But, I can't go back any further than, Derrick Johnson came back the second time from his Achilles in about 7 months. And you know what? He just wasn't the same after that. So it could be done. I'm just not completely convinced at this point that if it happens that you're going to be seeing Eric Fisher at Pro Bowl level Eric Fisher. I mean, we'll see, but that seems like a pretty ambitious timeline.
That's a good point also that we hadn't, for all of the things that I've seen people be kind of skeptical about and all of the questions that have come from it, the idea that maybe he's back out there more quickly than we expected, but he's not the same version of Eric Fisher that we've seen, I think makes a lot of sense. What about specifically to Mitch Schwartz? I mean, again, we got the news last week from him, just from his Twitter account, saying, hey, you know what? I was going to try to play somewhere in the playoffs in the Super Bowl. It obviously never happened, so we're going to get in there and fix the issue now. Not a long recovery process, according to him. What did you make of that news last week?
Yeah, I mean, that certainly seemed like that if he wanted to do it, I mean, that was going to be, I think, the question all along. That some people were speculating about was, hey, just whether or not he wanted to go with the pressure of go ahead and doing the comeback. I mean, there's a lot of work involved in it. And clearly, I mean, I think everything that Schwartz told us that, yeah, he's up for it. And so yeah, I understood. I mean, absolutely the reason why they decided to wait, the hope was that, hey, maybe he can come back and make it for the Super Bowl. And at any point along the way, I mean, from October on, the moment that injury occurred, anytime that he decided to have the surgery, I mean, it was ending the season. Mm-hmm. So he would not have played in the Super Bowl. I guess I understand, why he maybe wanted to, and maybe the Chiefs wanted to wait as long as possible to see if it was going to happen. At that point, I mean, once the season's over, I mean, you're probably kind of in a little bit of limbo land. There wasn't any reason for it to be urgent because the recovery timeline for that was pretty much going to wipe out his offseason anyway. Even if he had the surgery the day after the Super Bowl or, the day after the AFC Championship game even, I mean, it was still going to wipe out his off-season program. So it seems to all, to a degree, make some sense. And with Schwartz, I mean, to me, it was always going to be along the lines of, if he wanted to go through with it at this point in his career and at his age. And clearly he seems pretty gung-ho about it. And if that's the case, I think the Chiefs should be reasonably optimistic.
I'm going to keep just laying down like stepping stones, and eventually I'm going to ask for kind of your big picture expectation. But we talked last week about the kind of the ins and outs and what we know about Eric Fisher's contract and the fact that if the Chiefs wanted to, they could move on from Eric Fisher this offseason, free up about $12 million and have $3 million in dead cap money, which was a conversation we had at some point, or at least that I had somewhere along the line, with somebody, maybe in my dreams, I don't know. So I dream about salary cap stuff at this point. It's really sad. But we had the conversation at some point about like, well, I mean, really, the Chiefs could move on from Eric Fisher next year and save that money and try to find the new left tackle of the future. Fisher's a little bit older at this point and all that. That was even pre-injury. I mean, pre-injury, there was an argument to be made for taking a long look at Fisher's cap hit in 2021. What changes, if anything, about that now if you do buy, at least to some extent, that the Chiefs are optimistic about what his recovery timeline looks like?
I mean, to me, it's a calculation about how much of a healthy Eric Fisher do you think you can get this year? I mean, if, and let's say that the timeline is not as optimistic. Maybe it is, they think that, hey, he can be back on a football field by mid-August. But maybe he's not going to be in NFL left tackle form until week 5. At this point, with the cap number, are you better off just waiting to make sure cross your fingers that maybe you only have to play part of the season without Eric Fisher and that he will be back? Because here's the catch: if you do want to walk away from Eric Fisher, that's a reasonable justification, and you can make the justification from a salary cap standpoint. The catch is that I don't believe that the Chiefs believe, and don't see any reason to believe, that they have the left tackle solution on the roster right now.
Yeah.
Which means you're going to need a new left tackle. Okay. Well, what's it going to cost you to get a left tackle? To get a left tackle that's a Super Bowl caliber, it's not going to be $1.5 million. It's not going to be, bless his heart, signing a journeyman Mike Rimmers. I mean, Mike Rimmers is your guard, and he can pinch in at right tackle. Super Bowl show he can't do it at left tackle, certainly not for a whole season. So you're going to have to pony up, and that's going to cost you. So if you want to shoot for the moon, Trent Williams, hey, maybe, Cam Robinson doesn't get tagged in Jacksonville. There's some guys available, but they're going to cost you just as much as Eric Fisher's going to, if not more.
So, the one guy you didn't mention there is Lucas Niang, and I only kind of circle back on him just because I think his name's going to come up a ton through the next several months in all likelihood, because he's got this very interesting case. If he has some really excellent first-round caliber college tape, but it wasn't his most recent tape because he was playing through an injury his last year at TCU, and then obviously he missed this entire season. I don't know what kind of shape he's in or if he was able to progress as a player in some way over the course of this last year. His rookie contract didn't, no years of that have been used yet, so that's at least kind of a nice perk. But even if you're optimistic about Lucas Niang, this is something else to keep running into as people talk about drafting a lineman or drafting a tackle at 31. The guys that are going to be there at 31 are going to have some questions. I mean, you're not going to draft Trent Williams at 31. You're not even going to probably draft Eric Fisher at 31 in terms of what that guy looks like in his rookie season. So if I make you guess right now who's starting at left tackle for the Chiefs in week 1, and then I guess in week 8, if you want to kind of make sure you're playing insurance there for Eric Fisher, would you put your money on Fisher? Would you put your money on a rookie? Would you put your money on Lucas Niang / Mike Rimmers? Would you put your money on a veteran who's not currently on the roster?
I mean, if I were handicapping it, I would be putting my money on a veteran who's not on the roster for week 1. I mean, for week 8, I think I'd probably put my money on Eric Fisher.
Wow, interesting.
I think there's just I don't at this point get a lot of sense that there's a sense that the Chiefs and Eric Fisher are going to break up, and and I think even the phrasing and how much attention that Eric Fisher got from Brett Veach today was certainly not the kind of language that you hear from a GM who's expecting to let his left tackle go. I mean, everything that he said today seemed, unless he's just absolutely completely bluffing us, sounds like a guy who expects Eric Fisher to be playing for his team this year. And like I said, I still think it's going to be really, really tough to see him in week 1. It's possible, but at the same time, no. I mean, as much as we want to talk about Lucas Niang, this is a guy who hasn't played a game of football in a long time. And you talk about, hey, rookies can come in and plug in at left tackle. It can be done. And there are some people who say that Lucas Niang was maybe bottom, first round talent without the hip injury. But you know what? He had the hip injury.
Right.
It's a guy who's been hurt. It's a guy who hasn't played, and now actually with the hip injury, I mean, it's going to be almost 2 full seasons since this guy's played on the football field by the time we get to week 1. It's going to be a long time. And that year of development away from the game. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to a rookie being able to come in and step in and play at left tackle in the NFL. I think it's just really, really tough to be in Lucas Niang's spot and have that expected of you. So like I said, I mean, I'm pretty pessimistic that left tackle solution for week 1's on the roster. I think it's going to be somebody you're going to have to find. Now, like I said, I mean, I don't think you're going to find that solution at 1.5 or 2 million. I mean, if the solution is out there, if there's a veteran that you can pick up that you think can play there in a pinch, it's going to cost you. And maybe you don't have to splurge $13 million for a Trent Williams, but you know what? You're probably going to have to splurge maybe $6 million for somebody that could be your backup swing tackle. And that's what the Chiefs were kind of in mode there when they were paying with Cam Irving.
Yeah,
I mean, they've done it before, so they could do it again.
Yeah, the one, because I mean, all of these various options are gonna have their pros and cons, and so I've just kind of been thinking through them, and the path that you've sort of lined up there, the disadvantage to it is that you are paying 3 veteran tackles a significant amount of money each. You're not paying whoever this third veteran is. You want to put around the $6 million mark, so it's less than you're paying either Fisher or Mitch Schwartz. But you're paying him something maybe a little bit around what LDT is on the books for right now. He's about $5 million, so probably more than that. You're paying your swing tackle more than most third tackles are making, and that's the con, right? Because you're all of a sudden you've got a decent amount of money in your edges there, where you also haven't gotten younger. You've got Lucas Niang, but you've got him kind of essentially being your fourth tackle at that point. And if you're going to be doing that, you're not drafting one in the first round. You may not be drafting one in the second round, because now you're talking about your fifth tackle, like whoever that guy would end up being. That would be kind of an odd early draft pick. And so let's say that you follow that. The positive there is that if Mitch Schwartz and whoever this veteran are, if they start the first 4, 5, 6 games of the year, and then Fisher comes back and they become your third tackle, well, then if Mitch Schwartz has an injury thing pop up again, you would at least not be totally out to sea at that point, and then maybe you do have wherever Lucas Niang is by midseason kind of in the mix, or you could see him stepping in if you really got kind of double whammied once again, which obviously the Chiefs did by the end of the year last year. It's just a lot of money, it's a lot of moving parts, and it's a lot to invest in that position. Not that investing in tackle doesn't make sense, it just sort of seems like it's compounding on compounding on compounding at that point.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, and notwithstanding, maybe the idea that you could rework some contracts and everything, and maybe that will happen anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Hey, here's a scenario as far as how the roster stacks up right now that it could work, which is, you don't have Austin Ryder signed right now for the future. Really, the center you have signed on the team right now is Nick Allegretti.
Mm.
Could you conceivably move Nick Allegretti to center? Andrew Wiley stays at right. You plug in Lucas Niang at the left side, let him learn. I mean, and LDT obviously fits in there some way around too, but if Niang, steps in, does what you originally hoped for, which is maybe he plays guard for a year to get acclimated. You've got Fisher, hopefully he plays at some point in the season. You've got a dependable, there's a couple of guys out there that could possibly fill that role. Like I said, if fit in that $6 to $8 million range. Yeah, you're overpaying your swing tackle, but you know what? You've got 2 gimpy tackles as it is coming off surgery.
Yeah.
Probably not a bad idea to overpay for a left tackle to have somebody who can fill in either one of those spots. Now you're in 2022. You know what? Everything goes well. Lucas Niang is ready to move on. You can move him out to a tackle position. If somebody else is hit, you make a draft pick. You get somebody else. Hey, maybe they're able to pick up, or maybe Mitchell Schwartz does stick around. You got a lot of options here. So to me, I think that might be the best case scenario is that Niang wins one of those inside positions. He's able to play. He performs well. Then he's able to kick outside. But you know what? I think the Chiefs kind of felt it is, with this year that they kind of learned that if you lose Derrick Fisher, it's going to be hard to win a Super Bowl. Yeah. And, if everything had been equal, if Mitchell Schwartz had never gotten hurt, would he have played left tackle in the Super Bowl? Maybe.
Yeah.
He would have been your best tackle. He would have been your best option. So I don't know. But that, to me, is at least one scenario where it would work. It would cost you some money for that third tackle, but it's probably with the issues that you have, it's probably a smart investment.
It's just such an interesting game to have to play, because we're also, I made this point back in the first hour, and I tweeted about it. I'm going to continue complaining about this, just yelling at people for the rest of the offseason, because the Chiefs fans have taken on so much offensive line based trauma just really in one game that the entire offseason they could literally bring back Schwartz and Fisher, sign Trent Williams, and Lucas Niang comes back looking straight up like he's built like post-serum Captain America. And still, those tweets would have 97 responses from Chiefs fans saying, yeah, but they still take a tackle at 31. You can never have enough depth. We're like, listen, the Chiefs, I don't think are going to go into this year saying we're putting 100% of our eggs in the Eric Fisher and Mitch Schwartz basket. And I guess if they are, then all of your shouting Chiefs Twitter is reasonable. You just don't have to do it at me, because I get it. I do expect they're probably going to try to get younger at that spot, unless, Matt, you think that maybe that carousel will just be one of the places where the Chiefs just constantly are paying veterans to come in and just set the edge. And I don't know, maybe there's a chance of that as well. Or that's something they splurge on from here on out. Although eventually, if you're paying Patrick Mahomes as much as you are, and you're paying both tackles, you do, I imagine, start to feel that squeeze a little bit.
Yeah, and the thing is that, Brett Veach kind of got asked this question about, since that, before Niang, that, the highest pick that they had used in the draft on alignment had been Mitch Morse.
Yeah.
And that was, 6 years ago?
Yeah.
So, the Chiefs haven't spent a lot of draft resources on offensive line, but they've spent a lot of cap money on offensive line, because they've paid Eric Fisher, they've paid Mitchell Schwartz. He's been Fisher's been a relative bargain to a degree at left tackle for the last part of his contract. Schwartz, has been a bargain, but he's been one of the highest paid right tackles in the league. Laurent Duvernay-Tardif was a very well-paid guard.
Yep.
So, and that's one of the reasons why they had some young guys and, some cheaper guys at some of the other positions, because they were paying those three guys a lot of money.
It's going to be interesting. Let's talk about something other than offensive line. We got a good 20 minutes into that one. But another position group that we've spent some time talking about, that Veach talked about a little bit today, is looking at the receiver position kind of from all angles, looking at both at free agency and in the draft. We talked about Sammy Watkins last week. He talked about Watkins kind of offhandedly today, saying it's going to be, tougher to make that work. I'm not taking much of this as like Brett Veach telling us what the plan is, because that'd be pretty bad general managing, I think. But did you take anything from any of that today? Did you feel like you got any hints about what they're thinking at receiver?
I took that as the first to the opening salvo of public negotiations of letting Sammy Watkins know, hey, Sammy, we want you back, but it's not going to be $8 million per.
Yeah.
They clearly want him back, but it's just going to be at the right price. And I'm sure right now Sammy Watkins wants top value. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's trying to find, if someone's going to pay for him, I'm sure he'd love to get that bag. But I think that, I got the sense that was Brett Veach saying, we want Sammy Watkins back, but it's got to be at the right price. But other than that, I thought it was notable that, I think that there was certainly some interest expressed in, spending some resources, whether it is draft picks or it's in the free agent market. But I don't know. My spidey sense tingled a little bit because, GMs across the board always bluff. And Brett Veach is a poker player like anybody else. He's going to bluff. And my spidey sense tingled when he said, we're not going to come out the gate and sign a wide receiver to big money in the free agency. I'm like, oh, my God, he's actually going to do that. It's just like, oh, you know what? The least surprising thing that would happen to me now is if Brett Veach goes out there and signs a receiver, to 4 years, $42 million. It just seems like a foregone conclusion now. There's no rhyme or reason to it, but he clearly knows that they need some depth there. And because I think if you're going to the season, no offense to those guys, but if Hill, Hardman, and Pringle are your top three receivers, I'm a little nervous.
Yeah,
but it's not that those guys aren't talented, but it's just not as deep as Patrick Mahomes has been used to working with.
I think we may have already literally made this comparison, but it just really startled me because I was back looking at the list of free agent pending wide receivers in this year's class, and Marvin Jones is a name that's come up a few times, and I'm just been kind of just scrolling down the list, and I saw Marvin Jones nearly 1,000 yards last year. And I saw on Spot Track he shows that he's 31 years old. Just like that's older than I would have guessed. Like he's 2 years younger than AJ Green. That math doesn't work out. Which also makes him 3 years younger than Sammy Watkins. Actually, 3 years older than Sammy Watkins. I butchered that. Marvin Jones is 3 years older than Sammy Watkins.
Yeah,
I would have gotten that one. Now that's because we've been microscopically close to Sammy Watkins now for a number of years, and Marvin Jones basically plays on Jupiter because he's a lion. But like, there's a lot of talk about how green the grass over there is on a lot of these guys. I can't help but wonder if Sammy Watkins is going to look at this receiver market, do some math on the offers he's gotten, and then they're going to kiss and make up. Because I don't know where makes more sense for Sammy Watkins at this point, unless he just gets a great deal from, like Detroit, I guess.
Yeah, and we're talking about Byron Pringle, and you're talking about age. Byron Pringle's 1 year younger than Sammy Watkins.
Impossible. That's simply not true. You are incorrect. I'm sorry to tell you, you're simply wrong.
I mean, it helps.
What?
Sammy came in the league like he was 21, and
right?
Pringle came in the league when he was 25. So that helps. But, yeah.
It's simply impossible. That cannot be true.
Math.
I'm pulling up both their Football Reference pages to try to figure out exactly how many days apart they are, because it's just not, there's just no chance. Byron Pringle was born November 17th, 1993. He's older than I am.
Oh, that's frightening.
Sammy Watkins was born June 14th, 1993. They were born in the same year.
Oh, I didn't think they were that close. I thought it was like a full year. No, that's just a few months.
Sammy Watkins is 156 days older than Byron Pringle.
Wow.
Wow. And let's see. Byron Pringle was born before you were.
Yeah.
And Byron Pringle was born when I was a junior in college. I just realized I could be your father. I mean, my social life would have had to have gone much, much better. But...
Dad? Whenever I heard the Wookiee call, I thought maybe, but no, it can't. It simply can't be.
And we've got it down a rabbit hole here.
Yeah, we certainly have. Wow. Okay. Well, listen. You could tell me right now that you are actually my father, and I would not be more surprised than I am to find out that Byron Pringle is 6 months essentially younger than Sammy Watkins. That would not be more surprising to me. Anything else stand out to you from Veach's presser today? He had a little mention of, some places that he thinks the draft's got some pockets and some off-season stuff. I don't know what you took to be fully truthful, what you may have taken to just be him answering questions, but did anything hop out to you?
The one that jumped out to me, obviously he talks about holes in the, where they need to build and, what maybe some holes in the draft are, where the depth is. But talk about getting a, backup for Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
This is the time that they need to do it. Nothing wrong with Travis, but, he's getting up there in age. And I keep saying it. You're just playing with fire, not having a reliable backup behind him. And, there's been some indications that the Chiefs are kicking tires on some tight ends in the draft. Right now, I would be betting pretty high that I think the Chiefs are going to go tight end fairly early in this draft.
That's the sign of me rubbing my hands together in anticipation. Because here's the thing. I heard him say that today, and my first thought was not, ooh, it's happening. My first thought was, we've heard this before. And we'll talk ourselves into Ricky Seals-Jones or whatever, but we've had really both of these last two off seasons, not the one we're currently in, but the two previous ones, I distinctly remember having long conversations about the Chiefs' number 2 tight end and how that was one of the roster spots that really was pretty weak. And then I distinctly remember getting to the end of those 2 seasons and going, man, it was really stupid of us to spend that much time talking about who the Chiefs' number 2 tight end would be, because they didn't run very many 2 tight end sets. At least I think this last season they ran significantly fewer than they had the year prior. I might be wrong on that, but you get a couple targets here and there to Nick Keiser. Ricky Seals-Jones kind of just sputters right out, and Travis Kelce has the best season in football history for a tight end, arguably. But you're buying it this time. This time you think those rumblings, those hashtag rumblings, are legitimate?
I think part of the reason why Travis Kelce had a fantastic year this year, certainly a piece of it is that he's a really good player, really good offense, but part of it is that there was nobody else to catch the ball at that position.
Yeah.
He just caught all the passes. I mean, it wasn't like the Chiefs threw the ball to the tight end any more than, Andy Reid normally does. It's just that none of the other guys could catch the ball.
Yeah.
So he just got all the snaps and got all the catches. I don't think that at this age, I don't think that they really want Travis Kelce to have to play every single snap.
Yeah.
I mean, it leads to mistakes. It makes you tired. I mean, I think you saw that a couple of times. I mean, as good as Kelce has been, I think he would tell you that there were some games where maybe he pressed a little bit and maybe made some mistakes, and maybe those were fatigue mistakes because he was asked to play a lot of snaps at his age. And historically, Andy Reid's been a two tight end guy. I mean, he loves to play multiple tight ends. And this year, he played less multiple tight end sets than he has at any point really in his coaching career.
Yeah.
And I think that's just speaks to the fact that they didn't have a number two tight end that they trusted. Because even Demetrius Harris, for all the critics, and bless the heart of Nick Keiser and Deion Yelder, but Demetrius Harris looked like, second coming of Tony Gonzalez compared to what they got from the other guys this year.
Yeah, you're not wrong. So you expect, I think this is clearly what you're getting at, but you expect that whenever they do find that guy, it's going to be someone that is in, not that this is an easy mold to find someone in, but in more or less the Travis Kelce mold / style of playing tight end in terms of being a guy who you want to develop into a dominant receiving threat. And then the goal there is that he takes a little bit off of Kelce's plate, and then it's a little more next year and a little more the year after that. And then eventually you've got kind of your two tight ends set really fully running where you've got two unguardable aliens, both of that position at the same time.
I mean, I think that would be absolutely ideal. And some of it is that the Chiefs have, to their credit to a degree, they've tried to kind of find a number two tight end, but a lot of the resources that they've put into it have been some of this 4D chess, trying to find a Trey Burton chess piece, like the Blake Max of the world and the John What's-His-Face from Princeton that I keep blanking on his last name.
Love it.
And John Levitt, thank you.
Rudy's sitting right here and everything. You may as well have said something rude about his mother.
I don't know who you're talking about.
They keep trying to find this, this hybrid H-back guy rather than just saying, you know what, I think we just need to go out and get a really stud tight end that can back up Travis Kelce. I mean, I think that was, and obviously, Travis Kelce shows you can find valuable tight ends in the middle round. So it's not like they need to go out and spend a first or a second round pick. But, it certainly seems to me, at least at this point, that they are kicking the tires on draft tight ends more so than they have in the last few seasons.
I would enjoy that very much. That would make me very happy. It wouldn't make me quite as happy as it would if they took a running back every single round of the draft for the rest of my natural life, but it'd make me pretty happy. And so I guess I'll take that as our optimistic note to dismount on. Matt, always lovely to talk to you. Thank you for your various, I'm just going to say sort of fatherly insights. It keeps it open that way. Father, whatever the truth ends up being, we'll figure that out in the years to come.
Maybe I am the father of both you and Byron Pringle. We'll have to find out.
That would be even more surprising. Thank you, Matt.
Take care, guys.
Matt Derrick, and we've called him Reverend Matt Derrick. Maybe it's really Father Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. Follow him on Twitter at Matt Derrick. Check out At Last at triumphbooks.com. You can go to his Twitter account for all the links to all sorts of things, everything at Chiefs Digest. He wrote about the presser today from Brett Veach. We'll talk more about Veach's presser. Also, maybe talk about some of the things that Matt mentioned just then whenever we come back.
Did you know you can listen to Almost Entirely Sports anywhere, anytime? Well, you can. Just search for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
Warm weather is here. Spring has arrived. It's time to get that lawn back into shape. Do you want the best-looking lawn, but you don't want to have any harmful chemicals? Well, then go to GetSunday.com. That's right, GetSunday.com. You go there, you put in your home address, and their free lawn analysis tool takes care of the rest, all in just seconds. Sunday uses soil and climate data to create a tailored nutrient plan, so you get all the stuff your lawn needs and nothing it doesn't. Sunday is made with ingredients that you can actually pronounce, like seaweed, iron, and molasses, so you can grow better and feel better about it. Sunday explains exactly what you need, and everything is waiting right at your door exactly when you need it. All I had to do was attach the ready-to-use pouch to a garden hose and spray. It's just that easy. Let Sunday take the guesswork out of growing a greener, more beautiful lawn this spring. Visit getsunday.com/Petro to get $20 off your custom lawn plan at checkout. That's $20 off your custom plan at getsunday.com/Petro. getsunday.com/Petro.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo.
What is a cash-out refi? It's using the equity in your home to pay off high-interest credit cards.
Paid it off! Yes!
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak Lending. With mortgage rates at a record low 1.875%, you can save hundreds each month and skip your next 2 payments. You'll pay nothing out of pocket, and we never charge for a home appraisal if we can't close your loan. And remember, our local lending experts speak mortgage and love translating for our customers. Eliminating debt means putting your dreams back on the table today.
Updated bathroom?
Updated bathroom and a pool table?
Don't push it, Rick.
Get started with our fast and easy zipline tool at goldenoaklending.com.
NMLS 114937, 1.875% fixed, 2.913% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit. JLB Corporation, 8595 College Boulevard, Overland Park, Kansas.
Hi, I'm Fred Ramsey. And I'm Mark Tobin. Hey, folks, if you're not busy Saturday mornings from 6 to 7 a.m., well, I hope you'll join us for the Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet, St. Joe.
Join us and our expert guests, and we'll be talking about hunting and fishing, dog training. We'll give you tips, pass along stories, and most important, share some laughs along the way.
That's right. We cover it all, from crappie to waterfowl, and we'll tell you how to cook it, too.
The Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet, Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
If you could create your dream engagement ring, what would it look like? Come to Shane Company and let us help you bring your vision to life. You'll be delighted when you see our selection of unique ring settings, designed in-house and meticulously crafted to look beautiful from every angle, in platinum, yellow gold, white gold, and our signature shade of rose gold. In addition to the classics, we have trending styles, stunning halo designs, including popular hidden halos, elegant floral rings, intricate vintage looks, Art Deco designs, and more. For your center stone, choose a sparkling diamond in your favorite shape, or perhaps a vibrant ruby or colorful sapphire. Our sapphires come in over a dozen colors, like cognac, raspberry, and blue-green. All our stones are natural, ethically sourced, and hand-picked for their beauty. We can't wait to help you bring your vision to life. This ring represents your love story. Why not make it perfect?
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
What do you get when you talk to a Dell Technologies advisor? You get someone who understands there's an art to listening.
Sure.
Who's able to hear more than what's being said and can provide tailored small business solutions that make you feel truly heard.
I understand. Let's get started.
For advice on everything from laptops to the cloud and solutions powered by Intel vPro platform, call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
You know, no, I'm not Travis Kelce. God, I wish I was, though.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
During the break, I was seeing if Rudy had seen the pictures that I had retweeted, beards you may or may not have. The effect wouldn't have been the same. But my dad tweeted out some pictures that my little sister has taken. She got a camera for Christmas. I came through because I'm a good brother. Tripod, book about taking pictures of animals, camera bag, rechargeable batteries. That's where I came through. And I'm also hoping that at some point, you know, she just becomes incredibly famous for her wonderful photography, and then she can fund my, at that point, petering out radio career. I'll have peaked with the Chiefs like last year, and it's just a steady decline from that point on, unless we both, I don't know, improve at tight end. I don't know what that means. It just seems like it could be a joke. It's like if an AI would have written a joke to end that sentence for me, but it wasn't really funny. But, you know, those are my sort of financial investments in Chloe's photography. I've retweeted them now. But the first picture is a picture of a snake that is just somewhere there in Florida. I don't know. Chloe just catches lizards and snakes and bugs and dolphins and fish. And
she's the reptile queen.
And I think that if she was here, she would politely correct you that it's more than just reptiles.
Fair.
And that I think it's Herpetology? I gotta find out. I don't know.
Yeah, that's correct.
Is it correct?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. What does it mean? That's definitely a word. Do you know what it means, Beers, or you just knew that it was a thing?
I think it's study of reptiles.
It is the branch of zoology concerned with reptiles and amphibians.
And amphibians.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that that's... All right, well, listen. She's probably not listening, so nobody tell her that I didn't know what that meant, okay? I thought it was... I knew it was some sort of study of some sort. Anyway, the reason this became show relevant is because I found out that if you just show Rudy a picture of a snake taken from up close, he gets the heebie-jeebies.
I don't like snakes or spiders. Not my thing.
Have we talked about this before?
Yeah, I mean,
is there like
I think so.
Is there like a casual fear that I'm not like trying to hold every snake and tarantula and whatnot, but I'm not. The idea of it doesn't skeeve me out.
You.
Yeah, definitely it does for me, and it's very simple for me. When I was a kid, just at way too young of an age, I watched Arachnophobia, and that's what did the spiders.
Sure.
And snakes just might have been. I'm trying to remember if I don't think Anaconda necessarily made me like afraid of snakes, but I'm sure it played a part. I think I've just always kind of been a little like to snakes.
Sure.
And that might be just because where I grew up in the country, like there was a good chance every snake you came across was a copperhead, which is very poisonous.
Sure.
And I've just seen 6 foot, 7 foot long black snakes. And while black snakes aren't necessarily they're not deadly or anything, you just see a 6 foot snake. Oh, well, it's just a little heebie-jeebie. Spiders though, 100% was Arachnophobia. That movie, I watched it when I was 6. My sister loved scary movies growing up. I hated them. I love them now. But my sister, who was also younger than me, she was probably 5 at the time. I was probably 7 or 8. She was probably 6 or 7. She would make me watch scary movies. And I know you're wondering, why is your younger sister making you watch scary movies?
That's what I was wondering.
She was in charge. I was terrified of her. And so I watched about half of Arachnophobia, and I was like, nope, peace, I'm out. Went to my parents' room and attempted to sleep, but the reality was I was up all night just thinking of spiders.
That you went to your parents' room and then they just had a whole big thing of plastic spiders that they kept just throwing at you, and you had to pick your poison.
Ugh. Hate spiders.
Beard, you seemed very
Get out of here with spiders.
Unnerved.
Now, so here's the thing: they reach a certain size. Then I'm out of here on spiders. Anything below, where you can very visibly see how long and how many of their legs are, I'm fine. I wage war on those things with a vengeance.
So you need them to be larger than a certain size.
Yes. Otherwise, I'm fine, whatever. I'll kill it. I'm done with it. Whatever. If it gets to a certain point, and then especially if there's hair, at that point, then I just try and get a golf club or something, and then from very far away try and hit it.
Okay, so then you turn into actually. I just had a thought. Actually, bleep this is where you end up.
A point though.
This is the difference.
I'll let Rudy talk about a story.
It does not matter what size spider it does. It just doesn't matter. If I see a spider, in my head, this spider is poisonous and it wants to murder me. And now the rest of my life is devoted to murdering the spider.
Okay, but
I will literally
it doesn't want to murder you, though.
Hours just trying to moving around couches, just trying to find a spider.
Really?
Because I have to kill the spider.
Whenever
does not matter the size.
I don't know.
They're all murderous. They all want to kill me, but I'll kill them first.
I don't know how long how
kill or be killed world out there.
I would say I was probably maybe I'm gonna just throw a dart at maybe 12 to 14 years old, and my mom got a spider bite on her belly.
Oh, that's good.
And it was bad. It was bad. It was gross. There was all sorts. I don't remember I just remember it was not a good time for her or for any of us to be around her while she had a spider bite. It's just a general unpleasantness all the way down. But I don't see if I would rather have my living space just be only organisms that I want to be living there, at my old apartment, it was bottom level, and there was this very cool kind of wooded area out back, but also it meant spring showed up and the bugs were moving in, baby, and so I had a bunch of glue traps and stuff. Just
I had some bed bugs in the basement.
I'm not, you could say, bugged by them that much. But I don't necessarily want them. I don't want to lay my head down to sleep at night and then just be staring at like a little pile of beetles that are just sort of hanging out there.
No thanks.
Playing their famous music.
Terrible.
I laid down to sleep, and it's just no. That was the main issue, is that I just wanted them to shut up.
Yeah.
It was just too loud.
Very loud.
They were just really distracting as I was trying to sleep.
These kids and their rock and roll music.
Yeah. And there were 4 of them, and I named them Beetle 1, Beetle 2, Beetle 3, and Beetle 4. Now I'm realizing what a huge missed opportunity. Could have named, never mind.
I thought you were going to say Beetle 1, Beetle 2, Beetle 3, and like Ringo.
That's what it should have been.
That's where I was going to.
That's what it should have been. That was funnier. Let's, Beard, can you edit this for the podcast? I'll just give you a clean for the podcast feed.
No.
Yeah, I had 4 Beetles that would just be, laying on my pillow at any given time. It was just, they were just too loud. I did name those 4 Beetles. They were named Beetle 1, Beetle 2, Beetle 3, and then Ringo Starr.
That was a good joke.
Thanks, Beards.
So, like...
I really quick, there's a Twitch comment from Bartman KC that said, I love this show. I really can't express how happy I am that you stream it so I can listen from Florida. First, Bartman, thank you for saying that. It makes me very happy. And then secondly, look out for both wild animals and my sister, who may be coming at you just flinging wild animals. But I very much appreciate that.
He also says, though, also later, Rudy is honest, spiders must die or the ability must be burnt to the ground. I agree.
That's totally fine. Also from Twitch, someone said, same but in Illinois. I hate Illinois, please send help. Their Twitch username is the Disco Spider 5. So that implying the existence of at least 4 more disco spiders.
Oh, no.
Hugely important.
Is that like that internet video where they're giving spiders all these different drugs or whatever? And there's like the crack cocaine spider.
Oh, is that what the...
Yeah,
that's
not the disco spider.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's not really cocaine, is it, in that video? Or is it actually? I thought it was a joke.
It is a joke.
Were they actually giving drugs to spiders? Because there definitely have been like experiments where it's like, here's the web this spider made on this various drug or whatever. I don't know.
It was like that, but it was a parody of that.
Okay. I remember seeing a meme at some point in pretty early internet of that spider that was just covering itself in white powder, and it just said like, I bleeping love cocaine, and it made me laugh when I was 13.
I'll send it to you on Twitter.
That's fine. I believe you also.
It's also funny, and you should watch it.
So thanks to everybody who has expressed their enjoyment of being able to watch this show and listen to this show from out of state. It's very exciting. Did you have another story, Beards?
Yes.
A bug or snake-based story?
So like 2 weeks ago, I found this Reddit a while ago. It's called Make Me Suffer. There's funny stuff on there occasionally, but there was one that was a video.
Whenever I want to, I don't go to that subreddit, Beards. You know why?
Why?
I work with you.
Anyway, there was a video I clicked, and
because working with you is suffering.
It was this guy that was cutting a mask. Yeah, I got the joke.
Okay, cool. You're on a subreddit called I'm Beards, and this is my existence.
Yes.
Okay.
He was cutting what looked like one of those kind of surgical masks, just the blue and white ones.
Cutting
the edge of it off.
Okay.
So and then he opened it up, and there was like a silica pack or whatever in there for whatever reason.
Okay.
And then it showed somebody else doing it and cutting it, and then opens it up, and then it cuts straight to the camera, to which there's a big old spider in there scurrying out straight towards the camera. And boy, let me tell you, my phone went about 10 feet in the air, and I went the other direction.
It can't get you through the phone, Beards.
Oh, I did. My brain didn't process that at the time.
All right.
I think I turned my phone over and just left it there on the couch for like another 20 minutes just to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it makes sure it got squished.
Yeah.
If it was in there trying to come out, if you have the phone upside down, it can't use your phone as a portal.
Boy, I suffered.
Yeah, I mean, the Reddit did its job, I guess. Why are you on that subreddit?
There's some funny stuff occasionally.
I mean, by all means, keep going to that subreddit. Yeah. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I'll stay away
that was
from
the first time I really suffered.
From a Reddit page of people suffering.
Yeah,
I just like look out my window and I just see a world suffering.
I especially on the internet, I don't need to work hard. Like, do you use your Twitter account? Just scroll through your Twitter account. You won't find spiders. You'll find plenty of suffering.
But sometimes it's funny stuff on Reddit. And I don't need all the real suffering.
If somebody, and this is going to have to happen relatively soon, I don't know if we can get, like, maybe we get, like, a little show cross-sponsorship with, like, a pet store or something. But if like, a pet store brought in a...
Nope.
Like some non-venomous snakes and like a tarantula or whatever.
Snakes are fine. Tarantula, no thank you.
I would definitely like hold
You're going to have
off
to get a
of them.
replacement board up that day.
Listen, Beards, if getting a replacement board up was that easy, would have been done by now. I don't think I'm that unnerved by snakes. What is it about snakes and spiders that I don't know. I don't understand why it's
the way they move.
I just don't like them.
But Beards, you're fine with snakes, though.
Snakes are fine. Like, I don't want to be, cuddling a snake or whatever. But, like...
Coward.
I mean, I've
I
had
go
a
to the zoo
boa
or whatever. I like
constrictor
looking
around
at
my
snakes.
arms.
They're cool. They're fun looking. If there's a tarantula or spider exhibit, I'm out of there. Scorpions, too. No, thank you.
Does it get... So, Rudy, on the snake scale, does it change... Like, are you more or less afraid of larger or smaller snakes? Like, is it just bigger is scary or just a straight 1-to-1?
I mean, like, I've had a boa constrictor around like my shoulders before.
What about like a python?
Or yeah, or was it a python or was it a boa? It's not albino one snake though. I know that.
But regardless, let's say that
it was
all
a
of
big
a sudden
snake. It was like this snake could have eaten me.
Let's say all of a sudden there were two.
I mean, John Cleese is like 6'5".
Let's just say it's okay, Beards. I'm gonna get to my joke now. We're gonna have
I don't understand that joke.
That's all right.
All.
Monty Python.
Beards. Okay, that's
never
fine.
seen it.
But Rudy, let's say that I had a connection to a local pet shop or something.
Yeah, I'd say no.
And they brought in 2 massive pythons into the studio. What would you leave? If there were 2 massive pythons out open in the studio,
like
loose.
They're just loose. Oh yeah. I am calmly getting up. I'm walking to the. Sorry, I just saw Twitter.
Conrad's working very quickly tonight. Conrad is
I
working very
would
quickly
calmly walk to
tonight.
the balcony.
Yeah.
And I would jump to the tree.
All right.
Which I could clearly do.
So 2 pythons loose in the studio would make you jump off the balcony.
Here's the thing: if there were 2, if this room was full of snakes and spiders, I guarantee you I could get to that tree.
You'd make the jump. But
you can make the argument that any other time I wouldn't, but that day, oh boy.
Well, listen. All I can say is that if 2 loose pythons would make you leap out of the studio at a moment's notice, it's really important that I keep this jacket on. God, I worked so hard for that joke.
Take the show with you wherever you go. Listen live on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app and 810WHB.com.
The NAIA Men's Basketball National Championship is just around the corner on March 18th through the 23rd downtown at Municipal Auditorium. 15 games over the course of 5 days as we crown the 83rd NAIA Men's Basketball National Champion. Catch all the excitement as single-day tickets start at just $20. For ticket and championship information, go to NAIAHoops.com today. The NAIA Men's Basketball National Championship, a Kansas City tradition.
What we have, you can't find with the search engine. Maps won't navigate you there, but it makes a big difference when you find it. It isn't expensive or complicated. It's our simple, timeless values, like honesty and humility. They've helped us support our customers and communities for more than a century, and it's those values that guide us today as we seek new ways to serve you. That's tradition for today. That's Intrust Bank.
Spring is coming, so plan now to keep those bugs out with Augustine Exterminators. Now is the time to establish and or maintain a barrier around your house. Don't let it break down. At Augustine Exterminators, they have you covered. Augustine is a family-owned local business since 1966. All of their techs are certified in both Missouri and Kansas. In fact, check out their amazing reviews from all their KC area customers. They're also a Quality Pro and Green Pro company. Augustine also does carpet, rug, air duct, and tile cleaning. They have an excellent referral program as well. Refer a new customer, and you and they get $25 off their next service. That's right. Refer a friend, and you both get $25 off your next service. Shop and buy local with Augustine Exterminators. Call Augustine Exterminators today at 913-359-8627 or go online at AugustineExterminators.com. And Augustine is looking for qualified technicians. Call today at 913-359-8627. 913-359-8627.
Schlotzsky's has just what you need to start the new year out right. All of their sandwiches and pizzas are made with their baked fresh from scratch sourdough bread. At Schlotzsky's, they offer curbside, drive-through, socially distanced dine-in, catering, and delivery. And remember, the Schlotzsky's $24.99 lunch and dinner special for a family of 4. Any 4 medium sandwiches or pizzas with 4 chips and 4 cookies for just $24.99. Available at all 5 area Schlotzsky's. Funny name, serious sandwich. That's Schlotzsky's.
Weekends are for whiskey-soaked prime rib cooked low and slow, finished over an open flame, and boozy brunches with your besties at Red Door Wood-Fired Grill, Kansas City's #1 upscale neighborhood joint. We just have one piece of advice for when you join us. Come hungry. Everything here is made from scratch, including our legendary chicken and waffles and the best Kansas City strip you'll ever eat for $20. Prepare yourself to take a tender, juicy bite of perfection. What are you waiting for? Reserve your table today at reddoorgrill.com or download our new app.
During these challenging times, everyone is talking about the Freedom Loan exclusive at A1 Mortgage. After the financial crash of 2008, we knew there had to be a better and smarter way to finance your home. The Freedom Loan. It will take years off your mortgage, saving you thousands in interest. Need cash? No problem. Need a break on payments? No problem. The Freedom Loan may be the last loan you ever need. The managers of A1 Mortgage could have any loan they want, and they chose the Freedom Loan. Why wait? Start saving thousands and getting your freedom back today. Call 816-822-8888. That's 822-8888. Or apply at mya1mortgage.com.
A1 Mortgage, making your dreams a reality is what we do.
A1 Mortgage Group, LLC, a Kansas licensed mortgage company. License number MC0001649, Missouri license number 16-1556, NMLS number 268370. Terms and conditions apply, subject to change without notice.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
You know what they're probably not going to talk about on ESPN? On ESPN Radio that gets potted up here in a little bit? Too many Spider Boys.
On Sports Radio 810, WHB.
That liner has stayed weirdly prophetic now for like nearly probably 4 or 5 years.
Not scared of Spider Boys. Just spiders.
What's the new Tom Holland Spider-Man called?
Spider-Boy Gone Home.
It's Gone Home?
I think it's Can't Go Home.
I thought it was No Way.
No Way Home. No Way Home.
Spider-Man 3, Home Alone 2.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man 3, Home Alone 3.
No Spider-Boys at home.
Do you know what I watched this weekend, what Renee and I watched this weekend? I'm going to save the review for a Shot Clock review, but it's
Man
sort of
Spider.
banned. What?
Man Spider.
Nope. What did you say, Rudy?
Man of Spider.
Neither of those. Close, though. Finally watched the first Ant-Man.
I did that like 3 weeks ago.
I just hadn't seen it yet.
Same.
I'm not going to tell you what I thought about it because it's going to be a Shot Clock review. I never remember to do Shot Clock reviews like 6 months from now. We'll completely shift gears to baseball next.
You are listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey sports fans, Joni here, and I'm excited to tell you about the newly opened In the Zone Cryo. In the Zone Cryo will help decrease pain and inflammation, accelerate muscle recovery, increase your energy, and boost your immune system. In the Zone Cryo also offers Instasculpt fat reduction, personal training, infrared heat, compression therapy, and more. Mention Sports Radio 810 and receive 10% off your first service. Come see us at College and Metcalf. Call 913-208-4859 or visit inthezonecryo.com. Feel, look, and perform your best with In the Zone Cryo.
Men, do you suffer from erectile dysfunction or Peyronie's disease? Has Viagra stopped working? Most ED cases are caused by plaque buildup, which causes blockages and restricts blood flow. Even Viagra can't get through. But thanks to the doctors at West Coast Men's Health, a revolutionary medical procedure is now available. Using acoustic wave therapy, this non-invasive, pain-free treatment breaks down plaque, restores blood flow, potentially reversing ED for good. And women, if your man has ED, talk to him about acoustic wave therapy and how West Coast Men's Health can help, regardless of age or medical history. Call 913-243-3200 to schedule an evaluation. Be one of the first 10 callers and qualify for the special $99 consult fee, normally $199. That's 913-243-3200. Or online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Hey, Soren Petro here. Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T or something else like sleep apnea or even low thyroid. Schedule a complete health assessment right now at Low T Center. They offer monitored, self-injected home testosterone treatment for $135 a month, self-pay. So if you've been feeling tired, grumpy, have been gaining weight, have a loss of muscle, don't wait. Go to the lowtcenter.com right now to book your appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Buying or selling your home is a big decision, maybe the largest transaction of your life. So make sure you have a real estate expert on your side. Shannon Brimacombe and Stacy Cohen with Reese Nichols. Brimacombe and Cohen rank among the top 1% of all agents in the city, with over 100 million in transactions in the past 2 years. Dedication and decades in the business. Contact Shannon Brimacombe at 913-269-1740 and find out why Brimacombe and Cohen are moving people and moving houses.
If you have an urgent orthopedic or sports injury, the University of Kansas Health System is open, safe, and has extended hours to see you quickly. Your orthopedic and sports injuries deserve treatment from the experts who treat the Royals. Request an appointment at kansashealthsystem.com/sportsmedicine. The University of Kansas Health System is the official healthcare provider of the Kansas City Royals. Request your appointment today at kansashealthsystem.com/sportsmedicine.
A KC tradition since 1957, Hereford House is a locally owned steakhouse that has served generations of Kansas Cityans. Hereford House exclusively serves certified Hereford beef, which has been proven to be naturally more tender and flavorful than other brands. All their steaks are aged 21 days, hand-cut daily, and grilled over an open charcoal flame. This process provides a wonderful aroma and delicious flavor that cannot be duplicated by any other cooking method. Hereford House, Leawood, Independence, Shawnee, and Zona Rosa.
Every weekday on Sports Radio 810, tune in to hear Kansas City's favorite local lineup. At 6 a.m., wake up with the Border Patrol with Stephen St. John and Nate Bucati. At 10, it's The Zone with Jason Anderson. Now at 2, get into the program with Soren Petro. And wrap up your day on Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco. Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Kansas City's favorite sports station, 20 years and counting. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City. This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Okay, if the Royals don't win 75 games this year, I'll get slapped in the face with a steak.
But I'll get slapped.
From Hereford House.
Listen, hey, you know what? Are they playing 162 this year? Is that the goal?
I think that's the plan.
If the Royals don't win 161 games this year, I will go to a Hereford House and let them slap me in the open mouth with a medium rare steak, slowly, one piece at a time.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Still sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
Also, you know what sounds pretty good right now? Some Royal stories. I gotta say, these last couple of weeks are kind of getting up to speed again as spring training has begun. The Royals have played spring training baseball games, and there have been some fun moments, including the brutal assault of a palm tree that is currently recovering after being hit with a 9,000-foot home run. Also, some very important Twitter conversations around semantics. Plus, you could have missed this news over the weekend, I suppose. We talked about it yesterday on Sports Sunday. We haven't talked about it here very much yet. Hunter Dozier got a contract extension with the Royals. Talk about all of those things and much more right now with Max Rieper of Royals Review. You can read everything from Royals Review at royalsreview.com. You can follow Royals Review on Twitter at Royals Review. But you can also follow Max's personal account as well at Max Rieper, Rieper on Twitter. Max, first of all, have you ever seen a home run hit off of a palm tree?
No, that's a first for me. We don't have a whole lot of palm trees around here to be hitting them off of. And I don't know that the Royals have had too many guys in their franchise history who are capable of hitting it off a palm tree, but man, it looks cool. I'd like to see a lot more guys do that, and yeah, that was quite a feat. It's amazing when baseball players are saying, like, yeah, I've never seen that before. Like Bobby Witt Jr. was tweeting that's the hardest he's ever seen anyone hit the ball. So that says a lot about Sully Matias and what kind of power he has. It really is kind of awe-inspiring. And a lot of guys have been in baseball for a long time, haven't seen guys hit the ball quite like that. So that's pretty cool.
The semantic thing that I need to get your ruling on, I'm starting to feel pretty confident here about this in my case, but this was a poll question you tweeted out from the, I assume it was, someone tweeted out from the Royals Review Twitter account earlier today. The Royals sent 9 men to the plate in the second inning. Did they bat around, yes or no? The poll results, I don't know if you've checked these recently, right now, 50.6% say no, which means 49.4% say yes. Whenever 9 batters bat, Max, does a team bat around, or do they need the same guy to hit twice?
See, I honestly tossed that out because I don't know. Because I know it had been debated before, and I had never really waded into the debate. My understanding had always kind of been that if you send 9 guys up, that is batting around. But one of our writers, Sean Newkirk, he had a nice graphic kind of illustrate why that's incorrect. Why you actually need you need to close the loop to get to actually bat around. That's the name around. You actually need to send 10 guys up to the plate. So now I don't know, and I kind of tweeted that out just to like get what everyone else thought. Get some feedback on it. There's 2 guys still arguing about it 6 hours after they So I don't know, and then, like you said, it's 50-50 split. I don't know what the correct answer is. I'll do some research and get back to you. But what do you think? Is it 9 guys batting around, or is it you need to have 10 guys up?
So here's my thought. Whenever 9 guys bat, and let's just say for the sake of simplicity that that happens in the first inning or whatever, your number 1 hitter leads off the inning. I think if you get through your 9th batter and your 9th batter gets the 3rd out, you've gone through the order, but you have not batted around. There is something inherently circular about batting around. And I think if it was a space round, 9 batters would do it. But if around is one word, I think your leadoff hitter for that inning they have to get to the plate twice. Now, what if they get to the plate, they take a pitch, and then the 9th batter tries to steal second, gets thrown out, and then now the inning is over? I don't have the answer to that one. At that point, you're stuck in Inception, and it's a time loop. But I think you got to have somebody bat twice to bat around. Rudy, do you have a hot take on this? I feel like you'd have a hot take on this.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a hot take. I just think the original batter, whoever the leadoff batter in that inning was, he needs to come up to the plate. Whatever happens after that is not really on the batter, but he has to,
I think that's fair,
be up to bat for an attempted pitch. Now, I think if the runner gets picked off, then it's still you batted around the order because he was at the plate ready to at bat. I know it's not technically a plate appearance at that moment, but he was up to bat. I though Googled it, just bat around the order, just all I had to put in. First article was, does batting around mean 9 or 10 batters? And Brandon McCarthy simply said back in 2015, now I need the tweet to load back up. It takes 10 batters to bat around. If you have another opinion, it's wrong, and you should be placed in stocks in the nearest city center.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
We should have more stockades, I think. I think that would really solve a lot of issues. Well, clearly those are the 2 most important things at the top of the docket today, Max, was checking in on that palm tree and then figuring out what it means to bat around, to actually bat around. But the news of the weekend, and we've gotten the terms more finalized here, and then obviously the Royals, Dayton Moore and Hunter Dozier both talked about it today, so it's officially official across the board. The Royals gave Hunter Dozier a 4-year, $25 million contract extension. The incentives could get it all the way up to 47. I think I saw 47, somewhere 49 somewhere else. But it could get up to near $50 million with all these incentives. A team option for year 5. You wrote on Royals Review, people can go check this out again at royalsreview.com. You wrote that the Hunter Dozier contract shows why the Royals are different. Can you explain sort of the thesis statement of that story for us?
Yeah, what's remarkable about this deal is that it's remarkable now because these kind of deals used to be pretty commonplace around baseball where you'd have a guy that was a couple years away from free agency and he kind of established himself a little bit and you kind of want, and a team would want to trade, maybe some of that is give the players some financial security in exchange for giving up a year or two of free agency, which is what Dozier's done here. Teams used to do this all the time as a way of kind of having some cost certainty, as a way of delaying free agency for a player they wanted to keep around. But in the last year, really since the pandemic hit, we haven't seen any team sign these kind of deals except for the mega deal that Mookie Betts got and the mega deal that Fernando Tatis Jr. got. And so if those are the only kind of players getting these kind of deals, then that really, to me, that speaks as there's a big trend around baseball of not kind of investing in players and not wanting to have any kind of long-term commitments to your players. And I think, the Royals, this is just another kind of evidence of them really investing in players when no one else in baseball is, and kind of taking a different path. And I think, a lot of that goes, a lot of the credit for that goes to Dayton Moore, of course, and the ownership team with John Sherman, that they're kind of willing to buck the trend around baseball that really started before the pandemic. I mean, there was teams starting to cut costs and really be very cutthroat about how they were handling player payroll and player salaries. And the Royals said, we're not going to do that. We're not going to manipulate service time. They could have, we talked about this before last year with Brady Singer when he came up. They could have delayed his promotion by a week, and that would have saved them an entire year of free agency. And they said, no, we're not going to do that. He needs to be in the big leagues right now. He is good enough to pitch in the big leagues, and they were right about that. Sending him to the alternate site for another week would have been, just a charade at that point. So, and I think that really that means something to the players. I mean, you heard it with Hunter Dozier in his press conference today. He said he wants to retire a Royal. That he really thinks they're on to something big here. He said all the right things about wanting to be here. So, I think I don't know if it's going to make a huge difference, but I think you want your players to want to be on your team. I think anyone that's followed like the Houston Texans in the NFL, it's a problem when your players want to get out of Dodge. And with the Royals, in a lot of their history, there have been players who want to get out of here because they've run the team on the cheap. And I think it's nice to have a situation here where a guy wants to be in Kansas City, the Royals want to commit to him, and you have a deal that I think is pretty mutually beneficial for both sides. So I think it's a really nice welcome change, and especially with all the other teams in baseball really just doing whatever they can to get rid of any player that's even remotely expensive.
The Brady Singer example might be kind of the most vivid one because that's something where it just would have been to the point you just made, it would have been so easy for them to have just said, yeah, we'll see in a week. And let's just, no one would have faulted the Royals for doing that. You could have called it gamesmanship and then moved on. But you get Dozier talking about it, him believing this is the best organization in baseball. I think he made us the best organization in sports. We would have no way of knowing that. But, best organization in baseball, fine. I do think there's a little bit of something to that, but then also, you say mutually beneficial, that it makes sense for everybody. Obviously, Dozier gets his first and likely only real significant payday, where he's got baseball contracts, you got guaranteed money that just shows up there, gets a little signing bonus and all that stuff. So I understand why he does it. Why did this deal make sense to do for the Royals right now in terms of the numbers, the arbitration years that this is covering up, and what this means about how they are viewing him, and again, why it made sense in the interim?
Well, I think the Royals are really trying to bank on him returning to his 2019 form. 2019 he was one of the top 30 hitters in the American League by a lot of metrics. And last year he fell off a little bit, and I think we all know why. He had started the season on the COVID-19 list, and he's been very frank about that sapped a lot of his power and really hurt his season. And so I think there are a lot of reasons why, and David Lesky, who writes on our site, he's written a really good article about why Dozier is a pretty good candidate for a really solid breakout season this year. If he can kind of recover from what was a really weird season for everyone, and can show that power that he showed in 2019, and then add to that a walk rate last year that we really haven't seen from him before. His walk rate spiked significantly. He became one of the most patient hitters in the league, really. His 14% walk rate, I think, was the best any hitter has done since Dayton Moore has taken over the Royals. If he can combine that with a really solid power bat, then you're talking about a really dynamic hitter in the middle of that lineup. And to sign him before he does that, I think, is a way of kind of, getting his stock on its way up rather than, overpaying after a guy's already put up a career season. So it's kind of smart to do it now. In that respect, I think it gives them a little cost certainty going forward as they try to plan their payroll. They've got a lot of payroll flexibility going forward. And so I think it makes a lot of sense in that regard. This is the only player contract they have in 2024. So, they still have a lot of room to kind of play with, because they're going to have to deal with, Adalberto Mondesi may get a long-term deal. Brad Keller, I'm sure they would like to get him on a long-term deal. Brady Singer, he's a guy that you probably want to start thinking about locking up before too long. And then, Bobby Witt Jr., if everything is advertised, he's going to get a mega deal at one point. So those are all things you kind of have to plan out in the future. So to have that contract, knowing you're going to have Hunter Dozier in 2024, and you're expecting to be competitive here in the next couple of years, you're going to want a guy like that. And if he's rebounding to his 2019 numbers, that $9 million he makes in 2024 is quite a bargain. So, so I think the Royals have a lot of reasons to make this kind of signing. For me, I think the only thing that gives me a little hesitation is his age. He is going to turn 30 years old this summer. By 20, the Royals are banking on him being a pretty good player in 2024 when he's going to be 33 years old. Yeah. And we know that players, and once they hit their 30s, it tends to kind of go down. We saw that with Alex Gordon, seen that with a couple of other players. Hopefully Hunter Dozier can kind of, stall that a little bit or have a softer decline than some other players we've seen. And I think that's maybe what the Royals are counting on, since he is a guy that was a kind of a late bloomer. Maybe he can kind of age gracefully a little bit. So we'll have to see, but I think it's a decent gamble worth taking, especially with the signal it sends to players that, look, we're willing to commit to you. We committed to Whit Merrifield. We committed to Salvador Perez, even though, we didn't have to tear up his old contract. We did anyway, just to make it right with him. I think that means something to the players, and I think they've built a kind of philosophy, kind of an attitude in that organization that they're going to do right by their players, and I think the players respect that. And then if they have a chance to compete, and guys are, they're worth getting bigger contracts elsewhere, maybe that'll mean something when it comes time to negotiate a free agent contract.
I'm also glad you mentioned Mondesi and Bobby Witt specifically, because they both come up in your story up on Royals Review right now, where you're kind of looking down the line a little bit. Because honestly, this was I felt like I had reading your piece today. I was like sort of fact checking my past self, because we were talking on Sports Sunday morning and about this, as kind of some of the details were unfolding. And I was thinking about how, the Royals also having some value for somebody with some positional versatility is extremely on brand. But also, you pointed out in the story that's up on Royals Review that he's not Whit Merrifield's positional versatility. Like there is, I think the phrase you used was that it's his versatility is limited to positions low on the defensive spectrum, which is a really artful way of saying he can play a bunch of the positions that you don't necessarily need a superstar at. But what do you think the future looks like if Bobby Witt comes up, either to move Mondesi or to move Dozier? Do you like him at first base and trying to hold that spot down into those early 30s that he'll spend the life of this deal within? And do you think that that's something that the Royals do view as an advantage here?
Yeah, my thinking is if they've already tried to move Dozier off third base once, then they'll do it as soon as they feel like they have a really viable long-term option. And I think that's Bobby Witt Jr. I think his skill set really translates well to third base. Obviously he's got great hands. He's got a great arm. If he's capable of playing short, he's capable of playing third. The whispers that we keep hearing is that he's worked on playing the outfield. Jeffrey Flanagan's hinted at it. I think there's a report from Alex Lewis that he had been working on outfield work in the offseason on his own. So that's I guess, an option. But to me, third base makes the most sense. And Hunter Dozier, I think, would make more sense at first base, where I think his skills as a third baseman would probably be more suited because, he's been a below-average defender at third. I don't think he's terrible out there. I think he's capable for like a season, but I think long-term he probably looks better at first base. He's got, he's a former shortstop. I think he's got the hands to play first base. He's got good size, and he's got the bat that if you put him at first base, he hits like a first baseman. Which I know it seems weird to say when you're thinking about defense, but you don't want to move a guy to first base and not have him hit like a first baseman, because then you've got a well below average hitter at that position. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where he ends up. I don't really know what their plan is as far as where everyone's going to end up, and they may not either. I think they may just be like, we like position of versatility. We'll put guys, where we can when the situation dictates. And we like that Hunter Dozier is pretty game for like moving wherever on the field we need him to. And so that's part of why we wanted to sign him long term. And so, it could be like they just want that flexibility for whatever situation arises. If there's a player that comes available in the trade that's a third baseman, they can say, great, we'll move Dozier to first, we'll move Bobby Witt to outfield. We've got our lineup set. So that could be the situation. So I think they like that flexibility. I do think it gets a little overrated, like you said, with Dozier, because it's not like he's playing shortstop and center field. He's playing positions that guys that can't field too well usually play. But he can play them. He's not like some Billy Butler out there at third base where you're like, oh boy, don't hit to that guy. Yeah, he's fine out there for this year, and we'll see what the plan is long term. But I'm not too worried about it right now. But I think the signing does kind of raise questions like, okay, where's Bobby Witt going to play in the future?
I don't appreciate you using Billy Butler as a pejorative term.
All respect to Billy Butler.
Thank you for covering your bases there. At least this show doesn't have a lot of rules, Max. But one of the show's rules, written in stone in a tablet in the studio, is we respect Billy Butler and his athletic prowess.
Country breakfast.
It's also such a good nickname. It's such a good nickname, man. I miss Billy Butler in my life. I didn't realize that was true, but it just hit me just now.
Go get you a country breakfast tomorrow.
I would
make yourself a nice country breakfast.
I would destroy a country
watch
breakfast.
that highlight of him stealing a base.
I would love that.
You know what he's doing now? He's living his best life as a gym teacher in Idaho.
Is that true?
Yeah. And he plays in a men's softball, or I think it's a fast pitch softball league. Just hitting dingers and coaching gym class. I would love to see one of those gym classes. I just want to see Billy Butler leading a bunch of 8-year-olds in a game of like dodgeball. That'd be great.
Just dropping them. Because here's the thing. For us, Billy Butler's like that dude, it was a professional athlete. But you put him in a fast-pitch softball league and in a gym class full of 8-year-olds, he is dropping kids and dropping absolute dongs. I mean, just an incredible... Probably shouldn't have put those two in there. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Two separate things. Like, that has to be... honestly, maybe that's a story for next offseason for Alec or somebody. We send Alec to Idaho because I feel like
he would go to Idaho.
I feel like he would have gone this offseason except for COVID got in the way. Maybe next offseason, Alec is out there in like a full like headband and sweatband, wristbands and everything, playing dodgeball in a middle school gym class against Billy Butler. I would read that story.
There's a story out there to be told, and I want to read that story.
Desperately. I just want it more than anything else. Max, we'll talk plenty of times still before the season actually begins and over the course of the year and everything. So this doesn't have to be all-encompassing, but just kind of outside of the Dozier extension and the health of all the palm trees and whatnot, what's the story that's caught your eye more often, kind of just at this point, early in spring training and where, hope springs eternal, but you've got some reasonable things to kind of raise your eyebrow and everything. What's the story that you've spent more time thinking about at this point than maybe some other people might that you think is worth having a discussion about?
Well, there's two things. I think the first one is the guy that I think is pretty key to their season this year is Adalberto Mondesi. Mm-hmm. And, we saw how he finished last year. I think there was some hope that would carry over into this year. And I'm not going to panic. It's just been 2 games. But he hasn't been in either of the first 2 games of spring training. I don't know if he's working on something or if he's just, they're holding him out for a couple days. I know he's been taking swings. He's been participating in some drills. So I don't know if it's if he has an injury or anything like that. But I kind of want to see how he looks in the field, how he's hitting, if his head is on right. And so we really need him to have a really strong season. I don't know if he needs to hit like he did at the end of last season all year. That would be actually probably impossible. That'd be like Barry Bonds plus Mike Trout. But if he's an above-average hitter this year, I think that would be huge. He doesn't have to be like an MVP, but just if he's an above-average hitter who provides great defense and like 50 steals, I mean that would be fantastic. So I really want to see what he looks like this spring. If he kind of carried over what he learned at the end of last year, and if he's healthy, because health has always been a big concern with him throughout his career. So that's kind of number one. And number two is just, how do you handle this pitching staff after what was a weird year in which, no one really pitched more than 70, 80 innings. These minor league guys didn't really pitch in any competitive organized baseball games. So how do you handle the staff? There was some talk that they might do a 6-man rotation. Mike Matheny said, well, we probably don't need to do that the first couple weeks because there's so many off days. So they may not do that immediately, but maybe at some point they do just to limit innings. And they're going to have a lot of options with 6 guys, that is. I mean, I think the first 5 are probably set at this point. You got Danny Duffy and Brad Keller and Mike Minor, the free agent they brought in to come back to Kansas City. And then you got the guys that were rookies last year, Brady Singer and Chris Bubich. So those 5 are pretty set. And who's the 6th? And, they brought in Irvin Santana, and, he had a pretty long home run hit off him yesterday. So let's see, does he have anything left in the tank? Is he a reliever at this point? Or can he be that 6th starter? Does a guy like Daniel Lynch really impress everyone in camp? I think it's probably long odds that anyone like Daniel Lynch or Jackson Kolar, Asa Lacy makes the team out of spring training. I think they're going to want to get some minor league action at the start of the year. But you never know. I mean, if an injury happens or if a guy just blows everyone away in camp, then someone can force their hand. So, how do they handle this rotation? Is there going to be 6 guys? What 6 guys are going to begin the year in the rotation? I'm kind of curious to see how Mike Matheny handles that, because this is an unprecedented situation. We're coming off a 60-game season and no minor league season. I mean, no manager in Royals history has had to deal with that, and so he's really got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because you're right. I mean, there's not really a formula to look to necessarily. Do you have an inclination of what you're kind of rooting for in that regard? Like, do you like the idea of trying to find a 6th guy? Do you like the idea of being more aggressive with the younger guys and trying to get them up a little, the ones that we haven't seen yet, up sooner rather than later? Or you want to play the slow game? I guess also that probably has a lot to do with how you see this season being likely to pan out, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think I definitely err on the more conservative side, especially when you're dealing with pitching prospects. I mean, it just seems like pitching prospects are made to be broken. So anything you can do to kind of avoid that situation, you want to kind of handle them as delicately as you can. So, with guys, Singer and Bubich are definitely the guys you want to monitor. And look, innings pitched is kind of a really rough, not really precise way of measuring their workload. I mean, really, they're going to have different ways of measuring that. What is a guy? What kind of situations is he pitching in? What does his velocity look like? What kind of strain is he in? And I think they're going to have a much better kind of way of identifying if a guy's maybe being stressed and they need to limit his innings a little bit or limit his pitch counts a little bit. So, I'm not going to just look at it by innings pitch, but yeah, I think I would rather try to bring in a 6th guy. Or, maybe it's not, if it's a guy like Jacob Junis who just comes in and he's a 6th man, but he's kind of a swing man like they used to do in the 70s and 80s, where like he pitches out of the bullpen, but when you have, no off days for a while, he'll come in and make a spot start every once in a while. That's something they could do. Maybe, and I think, having Junis, a couple other guys like, Irvin Santana maybe allows them to be a little flexible like that. So I think anything, this is a way another year to be creative. They had to be creative last year with the pandemic, and we're still dealing with that a little bit, and we're dealing with kind of the after effects of that. So you're gonna have to be creative, and you really want to protect these pitchers as much as you can. At the same time, they need to get their experience in, and the clock's ticking on them. Like pitchers aren't like hitters; they don't develop like hitters, where hitters take 3 years to develop, and then they're good. Pitchers are usually pretty good from the start, if they're going to be good at all. And so we saw what Brady Singer could do a little bit last year, and he's probably going to be pretty good this year if he's a good pitcher. So you don't have 3 years where you're waiting for Brady Singer to be really good. He could be really good this year, and that can have a lot to do with how competitive they are. So they're going to have to weigh protecting these pitchers with being competitive. And if they get off to a good start and Brady Singer looks really good, then maybe you have to loosen the reins a little bit. So I think it's all about being flexible and being creative this year. And like I said, Mike Matheny definitely has his work cut out for him.
Well, I imagine you can speak for both of us in saying that I'm very excited to get to a point where we're talking about those things actually happening or not happening, and then what they should be doing in those circumstances, as opposed to just guessing and then guessing off of that and then making a guess. But either way, I'm glad that baseball season's nearly here, and I'm glad we have an excuse to talk to you more often. Max, thank you for making the time for us tonight, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me, man.
Max Rieper of Royals Review. Follow his Twitter account at Max Rieper, R-I-E-P-E-R. I partially spell it every time because every single time I've got to try it. Well, half the time I've got to try spelling it twice. But it's I before E, including after R, I believe is the famous phrase. And also, follow at Royals Review on Twitter. You can go to royalsreview.com. They're the SB Nation Royals site. All sorts of great work there. A series of great writers and great content. So go check out royalsreview.com. Check out Max's personal Twitter account as well. If you need a little more Royals on your timeline, a little more Royals coverage in your life as we get into baseball season. We'll take a break. Whenever we come back, maybe we'll do football. Maybe we'll do baseball. Maybe we'll talk about KU Baylor. Maybe we'll talk about snakes and spiders. That's just, with that one? Rudy votes for that one?
I'm good.
Snakes and spiders next.
Want more Almost Entirely Sports? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page.
Rick Edelman, award-winning radio host and founder of Edelman Financial Engines, takes questions on his radio show. Let's hear his answer on long-term care.
Hi, Rick. I'm worried about the cost of long-term care. Should I get insurance?
You're smart to ask, because 1 in 2 Americans over 65 will need long-term care. But do you need the insurance? It depends on your financial situation. If you're rich, you don't need insurance because you can afford the costs. If you're poor, Medicaid will pay for your care. But if you're in the middle class, the cost of care could push you and your spouse into poverty. Before you buy insurance, consider your complete finances, including your savings and investments. Get independent advice from someone who will give you the guidance you need and that's in your best interest.
That's Rick Edelman, founder of Edelman Financial Engines. If you're looking for a trusted partner, talk to one of our financial planners by calling 888-PLAN-RICK or visit rickedelman.com.
Now that football season is over, spring training is right around the corner. Even if it doesn't start on time, you have no excuse not to start your own spring training. You can get yourself back into game shape by spring, since it only takes 40 days to lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds with NJ Diet. NJ Diet's program starts with bioenergetically personalized supplements based on your hair, saliva, and blood work. Then, NJ Diet uses DNA testing to create your ideal diet and workout regimen to help you keep it off. Don't want to do it alone? NJ Diet is with you every step of the way. You will be fully monitored by their certified staff to make sure you are burning fat and not just losing water. You'll also get the doctor's personal email and phone number. NJ Diet offers live online video consultations, or they have a location close by the Lighton Tower right here in Overland Park. Call 855-5-NJ-DIET or go to njdiet.com and lose the weight for good. That's njdiet.com.
Have you seen what's happening with the stock market? Record highs every day. How long can this possibly go on for? By the way, this is exactly what happened right before the 2000.com bubbles burst. Remember that? Protect your savings in retirement by putting them into something safe like real gold and silver. I'm not talking about gold or silver stocks, but into real gold and silver you can actually hold in your hands. How do you get real gold and silver? By calling the Oxford Gold Group today at 833-600-GOLD. Now, the Oxford Gold Group will teach you everything you need to know about owning real gold and silver. It's so much easier than you think. So call the Oxford Gold Group right now at 833-600-GOLD to get your free gold and silver investment guide. The Oxford Gold Group is the only gold and silver company that I trust, and you should too. Get the Oxford Gold Investment Guide today and learn how easy it is to have real gold and silver delivered to your home, or how to have real gold and silver in your retirement account. Call the Oxford Gold Group today at 833-600-GOLD. That's 833-600-GOLD.
Switch to T-Mobile for Business and get up to 90 days of service free via virtual rebate on your business plan. You get a great deal, the largest 5G network, and first-class benefits like Microsoft 365 on us. It's better for business and only with T-Mobile for Business. Limited time offer. Stop in-store for details. Plus taxes and fees for some plans. Virtual Express MasterCard within 8 weeks of receipt of valid submission. Complete port within 60 days. See T-Mobile.com for 5G devices, coverage, and plan details.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
But you like just open the door a little bit and sort of stick your face out. And you're like, hey, hi, how are you? I'm like, hi, I am Herbert Hoover with Hoover Vacuums. Would you like a vacuum today? And we're like, no, I really don't. But like, oh, but we're Kansas football. We really suck.
You made Herbert Hoover a vacuum salesman?
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I only opened this segment this way because I'm afraid I missed something. Beards, why did you pick that liner?
Because that's what I was looking through to figure out what to play. I saw that one, and I hadn't played it in a while, and I like it.
Okay.
That was all.
It just very often, Beards is doing a little McFly, Beards McFly show within the almost entirely sports show.
And it's usually
there
all
wasn't
the time.
anything that jumped out from the last segment or anything to use. So
Oh, you didn't think the last segment was very good? Bleep off, Beards.
No, just anything liner
I thought
material.
the last segment was smart, funny, and enlightening.
Wow.
It was good.
Thanks a lot, Beards.
Huh.
Sorry you don't like Max.
Also, Bob on Facebook says Max Rieper's awesome.
I
We
was
should have him on
was
more.
I was just about to say.
Thanks for having him on.
I was just about to say maybe we should get Bob in here to produce the show because Bob at least enjoys the show whenever I have Max on. I really like talking to Max. I felt a little bad both reaching out to Lesky, Alec, and Max over the last couple of weeks whenever I have because it's been like, hey, you haven't been on the show since it got cold. But really, for some of it was more like late August because it was like, yeah, we got training camp basically. We're good. We'll do Chief stuff from now on. The Royals are kind of out of it, but I really like talking to all of them. We do have great coverage.
It's basically a case of where we have to tell them, sorry guys, winter is coming.
Yeah, that's right.
We have to prepare.
There's a Facebook comment earlier in the show also that I missed. They said, sorry for the late comment, but the only good snake is a dead snake.
Yeah.
I just love how polite that one was.
That now all of my comments disappeared.
Before it was about sort of like being loosely afraid of snakes
Brad.
and wanting them all killed. Thank you, Brad,
Yes.
for the
My comments are back.
for the comment. I just enjoyed it. It just made me happy. I have a piece of knowledge that I did not learn until I was on the Royals Review Twitter account, and I saw this retweeted, and I have now confirmed it in a couple other places. Have you guys seen the new Tom and Jerry like pseudo live action movie?
I have not. I've kind of wanted to.
I think it's on
Honestly,
HBO Max.
It is. And I have HBO Max.
Didn't know that there was a new Tom and Jerry movie.
I also have HBO Max because Beards has HBO Max.
Yep.
I don't think I've used it for literally anything since Game of Thrones.
Probably not.
But I think I still have your login.
Probably.
There are a couple things. I'll probably watch. We haven't talked about the Snyder Cut, Justice League at all. I think it's going to be like 4 hours long.
Yes, it's going to be 4 1-hour episodes.
I never watched the original version.
I did. It was fine.
But I think I would be probably less likely to watch it if I had already seen, was it Joss Whedon?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I would be less likely to watch the Snyder Cut if I had already seen the Whedon Cut.
I'll probably check it out at some point.
That's kind of how I feel.
When I'm working like a KU game or whatever one night, I'll probably just have that on.
Gonna just admit over the airways that he's not working when he's here. It's supposed to be working. Okay, Beards. You're a bold man.
I mean, you got to keep some secrets for yourself, Beards. You can't give away the whole game. Protect yourself. Protect your investments. Your time crime. Are you gonna also make a bunch of paper airplanes out of stolen office supplies?
I don't know, maybe. You never know.
Will you at least just remember to record the game? I might need
Maybe.
the post game.
Did you forget? Did somebody forget to do that recently?
Oh, it's happened a lot this year.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Parts of the post game are recorded, parts aren't. I was trying to find the KU game this morning, and it was saved in the Racing Boys folder for some reason.
No, that wasn't me. I don't work weekends.
I know. Yeah. No, this was not Beards. I will say that. I don't.
Let
I
me
also.
look at the sheet and see who that was. Let's
Yeah,
call him out on air.
Call him. I think you got it. I think the new schedule came out today, Beards. I think that's gonna. Is that?
That's probably.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I never noticed it until the last 4 weeks when I've been doing the Border Patrol, and so I've been looking for the games for the post game, and sometimes not all the post games recorded, which is weird, but whatever.
Anyway.
Anywho.
I love Tom and Jerry.
Anywho.
So
Tom and Jerry's awesome.
I saw the trailer for Tom and Jerry. By the way, this is me asking for help, just on a thing. Because I haven't been able to find it. You know what? I kind of have wanted to just have. The ability to stream lately. some old school, none of this remade bleep, but like the original run, like Tom and Jerry cartoons, or like some old school whatever, Coyote
like
Roadrunner, whatever.
Boomerang?
So Boomerang, I do have the Boomerang app on my TV, but they'll have like one free episode of like 5 different things every week or something.
Like make you pay for more.
Yeah, and I don't really want to watch the Scooby-Doo. I don't know. But like, it's not, here's the thing is I'm thinking about basically like, you know how you have background noise, right? You'll be listening to a podcast you're not really listening to, but it's going on or whatever. I need background visuals because I usually am listening to a podcast and maybe I'm also playing Hades on the Switch or whatever. And my go-to for for background visuals is to through the YouTube app or to Chromecast or whatever to the TV. The Kansas City Zoo has a 24/7 stream of the penguin exhibit, and it is a pleasant background experience because it just you look at your TV every once in a while and all of a sudden you're at the zoo looking through the glass.
What season are you
looking
on?
at these penguins? I'm on season 17. It's like an anime. There's a lot of episodes. There's a lot of seasons.
This is like One Piece. We're over 1,000.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they started streaming it like towards the beginning of the pandemic, and if it ever ends, I'm going to have an emotional breakdown. I will write a letter to the Kansas City Zoo. I will Venmo them, whatever, if we got to pay for some bandwidth. I will have a full-blown panic attack, mental breakdown if that stream is ever not there for me, just so I can look at some good pengies.
If they charge you $9.99 a month just for the penguins.
I feel like, do I get also like a zoo can I get a zoo pass or something?
You just get the penguins. Maybe like and then like a one-time you get like probably like maybe like a penguin plush or some sort of penguin-related souvenir.
Here's the thing, is what would make sense would be for me to just go back to the archived version or like to record like an hour of it and just let it loop or something.
But you're a good boy, Josh. You wouldn't break the law.
And also, but I would know.
To the people listening.
I would know. It wouldn't be the same. It would be a recorded view of a bunch of penguins. It wouldn't be the same as having a live feed.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, if Tom and Jerry or any of those like old school cartoons were streamable somewhere, where I don't have to worry about commercials or all of a sudden now I'm watching it up to the Jetsons or whatever, I would enjoy that. Beers, it looked like you were about to Google. Did you find anything?
I didn't see anything.
Maybe Verve?
I don't. Does Verve still exist?
Yeah, it does.
Because that's where the My Brother and Me TV show ended up, and I eventually just bought that on YouTube because it was not worth getting through Verve.
They don't anymore. One of their channels used to have old cartoons, but and honestly, might have been Boomerang, might have been on Verve. I don't remember. Whatever channel that they used to have the old that had old cartoons is no longer there. I see.
Well, if anybody has the answer, you can tweet me about that. That's not the point of how we got to this point, though.
Indie cartoons. One of them's Bravest Warriors, who did Adventure Time.
Yeah, I watched the first season or 2 of Bravest Warriors as it was coming out. It was a big deal, and then I kind of forgot it existed. Also, by the creators of Adventure Time, there's a show called Midnight Gospel on Netflix.
I like Adventure Time.
I've only seen the first couple episodes. Very weird. We talked about it. We talked about Adventure Time on Sports Sunday, me and Blake, and Adventure Time is actually something I've considered going back and watching.
It's a great show.
I've never seen it. I've heard it's great.
Have you seen? So like there's Adventure Time. You would really like the regular show.
Also,
Childish
heard
Gambino is in a couple episodes.
Really?
Donald Glover, yeah. The Adventures of Gumball is pretty good. I would say those are like the
Gumball.
3.
Yeah.
But there's also on Hulu now Solar Opposites, which is Justin. I'm forgetting
Rick and Morty guy.
You Rick and Morty guy. Yes, it is very Rick and Morty-ish.
What's that on?
Hulu. It's a Hulu original.
I remember seeing the trailer for that.
One season's out. I think the second season is getting close to starting. It was good. It's obviously like not as good as Rick and Morty, but it's a very enjoyable show. Like especially if you're looking for like another cartoon to like kind of fill the void. There's like one.
Well, listen, I can't ask it to fill the void, Rudy. It's only so powerful.
That's fair. There's like there are kind of like there's like a couple like almost mini episodes within each episode, and there's one about basically just how the children like just kidnap humans. That is very entertaining.
Okay.
That like plays out throughout the course of the season. Like in little bits and pieces, like a couple minutes here and there in each episode, until like one episode is like pretty much all around that. It's like the conclusion of everything that's happened that kind of leads up to it. It's very clever, very well done. I enjoyed it.
Okay, I might give that a shot.
I binge watched it in like a day or two. It's a very, very easy bingeable show.
Can you guys remember where this segment started?
Tom and Jerry, because I know where you're going with it.
You do. So you do know the thing though.
Yes, I know where you're going with this.
I do. I have no idea.
Because I saw it on Reddit.
There is a cameo made.
Yep.
I had to confirm this through Reddit and then also on Twitter.
Is this based off what I'm seeing on our chat? Something about Alex Gordon and Tom and Jerry?
Alex Gordon hits a home run in the Tom and Jerry movie.
Now I'll
and
watch.
Tom, apparently Steve Bartman's the home run at a Yankees game in New York.
Wait, so the Royals beat the Yankees? Is that what happened? Or is he a Yankee?
Alex Gordon hit a home run in a Tom and Jerry movie. The Royals hit a home run in a Tom and Jerry movie. That feels like a win for Kansas City.
But that's what I'm saying. So is he a Royal in this?
Alex Gordon is.
Okay, yeah.
Somebody on Reddit said that they saw somewhere on Twitter, which is the level of reporting that I've done, that Gordon didn't even know that he was in it. So I'm guessing that
feels right.
I'm guessing. Oh yeah, he wouldn't know. I'm guessing that maybe that Warner Brothers went to like just Major League Baseball or something and was like, "Hey, can we just use this home run?" I have no idea.
His agent was probably talked to, right? And his agent mentioned it to Alex, and Alex was just like, "Yeah, sure." What was just like, whatever, just not really paying attention. Was just like, "Yeah, I'll take that paycheck. I'm gonna go eat I'm gonna go eat a plain grilled chicken."
I hope Alex Gordon was able to get one grilled chicken sandwich, and by sandwich, there's no toppings and also no bread.
You think he's like had just one meal,
like a
one little
carb?
Just like I'm gonna have a pizza.
I think that he has smelled someone else eating pizza. But apparently, Alex Gordon's in the new Tom and Jerry movie. Do you guys have? Please don't, if you haven't yet. Have you guys been to Rotten Tomatoes on the new Tom and Jerry film?
Yes.
No, I have not.
Can you let's play the game before you go look at the?
No, I haven't, Josh.
But you looked at Did you look at the ratings?
Yes, I've seen the ratings.
Did you look at them within this segment while
No.
I was talking about? You had already kept up.
Yes.
All right. Well,
to be fair, and I mean,
Rudy,
I deserve
I'll
blame
talk
for
to
this
you.
as well because I helped us get off track. You know, the second we mentioned the movie, Beard's
he was
going
on
to go to
Rotten Tomatoes. I
yeah.
know.
I haven't touched Rotten Tomatoes yet.
You just said you saw, you know the score.
Yeah, from the other day when I looked.
Okay, but that's my point. So, like,
you weren't listening.
If you hadn't already looked it up,
He was watching Hornets Blazers Beards. Why don't you? How's your glass house? That view over there good?
yeah. No, if you hadn't already looked up the movie, like again, this is not a knock on you. Just like Rotten Tomatoes, like that's just like one of your things that you go to. You're just like you're curious about the scores.
So Rudy only.
Yes.
Do you want to guess critics and audience?
Yeah, I'll
scores?
go critics and audience.
You got to get with the Rotten Tomatoes game. You have to get within. I think really it should be 5% either direction, so you get a full 10 point. If it is a 50% movie,
I got 45 to 55.
45 to 55 is the range. If you say 50, what do you think?
Do we want music for this?
I mean, only if you have some on hand, like specifically for the Rotten Tomatoes game.
Yeah, I think I've got some.
Let's hear it. It's perfect. It'd be more perfect if you hadn't looked at Rotten Tomatoes. So give me the critic score.
I'm going to say the critics were probably like, I don't think it was super high, but I think they're going to be more favorable than the audience on this. The audience just feels like they're going to be much more like traditionalist here. So I'm going to say the critics, though, are going to probably go with like maybe a 62.
Should we go, you want to guess them both?
Guess the audience as well.
Okay.
Go ahead and guess the audience.
I think the audience is probably going to be pretty low, like a 40. I'm going to say 38.
Beards, I have a question.
Yes.
Do you think he's doing your bit here, or do you think he just got it very... The fact that he had the critics being higher off on it than the audience was a real curveball for me.
I don't think he was doing my bit.
No, it wasn't. It was like a legitimate guess.
You had the critics liking this more than the audience, which is interesting.
It felt like something where, to me, my main thought was the audience would essentially be like, because it's not like...
It's not traditional Tom and Jerry.
Right, like it's not the old school stuff. When it comes to, especially I feel like to cartoons, or really any old show, the new stuff is usually always disliked by the audience more so than the critics.
The audience score. Do you want to guess the audience score, Beards?
I actually didn't know the audience score.
Whoa!
Let's see.
Oh!
Actually, I didn't see the audience score.
Okay, let's do what did you say the critic score was? You said 62%, Rudy?
Yes.
Beards, what do you think the critic score is?
87.
26%.
Ooh.
It is a stinky, rotten tomato.
I'm not surprised that critics didn't think it's good. Wow.
I wouldn't have gone that low
I wouldn't have guessed that low.
I would have gotten
Tom and Jerry just
road.
felt like it was like where it's a case where like worst case is always going to be somewhere in the middle, right?
That's also kind of what I was thinking. No, I think you're right.
Again, like, and the part of the fan thing is not necessarily whether or not the movie is actually good or not. It's just hey, this is not what we grew up on, so therefore it sucks.
Beards, what is your guess for the audience score? You knew the critic score was quite bad.
I didn't know the critic score. 15.
85%.
Wow.
85%.
That is.
They're just looking for a good time.
But it's just like so off what I would think like that just like people would vote for. I feel like I don't know people.
You didn't know that Alex Gordon was in it, and maybe you see that Alex Gordon home run.
Maybe it was because Alex Gordon was in it that's got such a high score.
That's right. The audience was like, well, we got a Gordo dong.
Who doesn't love a Gordo dong?
I wondered why this rating was a hard R. I wondered why Tom and Jerry got a hard R rating. And it says
could you have imagined if it was a moose dong? That would have been an M all the way.
NC-17.
That is an M for mature.
That's a Rocky and Bullwinkle movie.
Absolutely. Yeah, it says right here, rating PG, rude humor, cartoon violence, brief language, Gordo dong. So
I'll do it.
Genre, comedy, kids and family, question mark? This has been a good use of our time, I think.
Yeah, totally.
Really excited for Tom and Jerry 2. Hold on. Does this have a subtitle? The catchphrase at the top of the poster is, it says Tom and Jerry... It says Tom and Jerry, a major motion picture. And then we will, of course, have Tom and Jerry 2, a major motion moose dong.
At JB Brisco, at Beards McFly, at Not That Rudy, at Sports Radio 810. Just do it already.
Hey, Kansas City, winter is here, and without proper attic insulation, you'll be losing money every time your furnace turns on. Star Company's installation is here to help you save money. Adding insulation to your attic will make your home comfortable, allow your furnace to run less, and save you money every minute of the day. And Star Company's gives you a 10-year warranty that others won't. Call Star Company's today for a free quote and ask about all the ways they can help you save money this winter. 816-353-2160. Again, that number, 816-353-2160.
You know what makes every diamond unique and special are its 4 C's: cut, clarity, color, and carat weight. But do you know what makes Diamonds Direct special and unique? It's our own 4 C's. The first C, concept. Diamonds Direct has revolutionized jewelry shopping by eliminating middleman markups and giving you direct access to the world's finest diamonds straight from the diamond cutters. The second C, choice. Diamonds Direct's multi-million-dollar selection of precious diamonds is unparalleled. And with over 4,000 designer settings to choose from, you are empowered to make a decision that works for your style and taste. The third C, confidence. With a nationwide price guarantee, free lifetime warranty, our unique 110% diamond upgrade policy, and our no-pressure, no-risk environment, you have total peace of mind. And the fourth C, community. Every year we partner with local charities and nonprofits with significant donations of time, money, and jewelry to make this a better place for everyone. Diamonds Direct, as unique, special, and rare as every diamond in our showcase. At 119th and Row.
Hi, I'm Fred Ramsey. And I'm Mark Tobin. Hey, folks, if you're not busy Saturday mornings from 6 to 7 a.m., well, I hope you'll join us for the Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet St. Joe.
Join us and our expert guests, and we'll be talking about hunting and fishing, dog training. We'll give you tips, pass along stories, and most important, share some laughs along the way.
That's right. We cover it all, from crappie to waterfowl, and we'll tell you how to cook it, too.
The Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet, Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Right now, it's more important than ever to support local businesses. And 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence is open and ready to take care of you. Make 23rd Street Brewery part of your KU game day experience, whether you watch the game there or grab curbside pickup for your tailgates or watch parties.
But not just game days, 23rd Street Brewery is great any day of the week, and when the weather's nice, you can take advantage of their heaters on the patio. 23rd Street Brewery is open daily from 11:30 to 9 for dine-in, carry-out, curbside pickup, and can even help with your catering needs.
So support local and visit a Lawrence favorite, 23rd Street Brewery.
If you're between the ages of 18 and 39, here's an amazing deal for you. You can become a young professional member at Tiffany Green's Golf Club. Monthly rates starting as low as $150 a month with unlimited golf, unlimited cart usage, unlimited practice range, member discounts, and much more. So get your friends and coworkers and join in on this amazing plan and start growing your friendships while enjoying the game of golf. Whether you come out and play as much as you can after work or enjoy the day on the course on the weekend, take advantage of the Young Professionals plan at Tiffany Green's Golf Club. Go to TiffanyGreensGolf.com.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
All right, really quick, I got to go to a break here, but hold on. Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel. How do you spell Squeakquel?
On Sports Radio 810, WHB.
Hugely important news from the Twitch comments about the Tom and Jerry film. From One Gunner Down, it wasn't that good, by the way, just okay. One of my favorite cartoon characters makes a guest appearance, Droopy Dog. Now, I do imagine as I'm thinking about Droopy right now, that it would be one of those cartoons that 50 years after its original airtime has some madly problematic things absolutely baked throughout it.
We have ads for that, by the way.
If your dog is droopy?
If you have a droopy dog.
If whenever it's time for whatever it is that you're doing, if you just unzip and all you hear is "Hello, Joes. I'm not feeling up to the challenge right now." Then you'll know.
I gotta put it down.
Don't put your dog down. Don't put your droopy dog down. It's just droopy.
Like I said, just listen to Sports Radio 810. We got advertisements for that.
Hello, Joes. I'm Droopy, here for your droopy problems. I used to have a droopy impression that lived within me, but I don't think I have it anymore.
Took care of business.
You got to start with hello, hello,
you put it down?
Joes is the key. Never. I just have lost it. I've lost my droopy dog impression.
Wow, you lost it?
It's gone. You know that one song? Remember that one song?
No?
There's an entire song called Droopy, or it's called Detachable Droopy Dog. Do you guys want to know about this song?
I do not. No.
I mean, you have 24 seconds to find it.
No, I'm not going to play it. There's just, all right, everybody turn off your radio. There's a song called Detachable Penis that you will hear the chorus and you'll never forget it. Which has obviously been my problem.
Sing it!
No. No. Maybe tomorrow when we'll have the show again. Bye, Mom.
You are listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Do you follow Sports Radio 810 on